This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, I hope you're doing good. Yes, Abellis got tangled in a blanket I'm crocheting for my daughter, and you know, they're animals of prey, so they're already like, they get scared real easy, and he took off running right after I started my music, so he's under the kitchen table right now. He's mad. I'm gonna have to check on him in a minute. Hey, bad girl, I hope you're feeling better. Corey, Jenny, Anders, Abellis, Amanda, allegedly speculating, good to see you. Rubber Ramada, Miss Kimmy, Sue Joy, excuse me, Miss Kimmy, Happy New Year's to you. I hope you're okay. Be careful eating them meat sandwiches, honey. Rachel, All Things Serious, Queen Olive, Hobby Farmer, it jumped to the top. My thing been jumping all over the place. Jumping to the left, jumping to the right. All Things Serious, good to see you. Good to see you all. I hope you all have a good New Year's. Anders, good to see you. If you have emailed me, I sincerely apologize. I have been slacking on the emails. I sure have. I need to be punished for that. I've been bad content creator slacking on the emails. I will check them today, I promise. I am so sorry. Today we're going to talk about where Jen Soto is told that more than likely Madeline is deceased. They talk to her about the pictures where they find Stefan driving around with her in the front seat, and they actually show her
stuff's on there. Yeah.
And they say, you know, does she look alive to you? Because she don't look alive to me. And her reaction is just outlandish. I've never in my life seen. I have never seen a reaction like she has, which is just that of apathy. Hey Tiffany, good to see you. And we're going to talk about it today. So she's going to start by recalling the day, and then we're going to get into her reaction, which is astonishing, to say the least.
In this
Thank you all for being here today.
interview, the police give Jennifer a ride to go get her car, and she is also informed that Madeline's probably deceased.
I know you guys left me a paper with a list of stuff you guys have taken, but I can barely read it, right? Because I guess it was written pretty lately. Electronics that were taken from the house, will that be eventually returned once it's all looked at? Like, do you guys keep it forever? How does this work?
Eventually it'll be returned, yes.
Okay.
How long that takes, I don't know. It depends on how much stuff's on there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
All right. Like I said, I just have a few more follow-up things to ask.
Tiffany, you're good. And yeah, if y'all don't mind, please leave some touch DNA on that like button. Thank you so much.
About our conversation last night. So we're going to take you to the Orange County Sheriff's Office to pick up your car because they said they're done processing it. They have your key up there. So I don't know if you brought a spare key with you or not, but
I don't know. That the key that actually, just kidding, I might have my actual original key, but the key that you guys have up there is my spare key.
oh, okay. So they have it up. And regardless, we have a key for you in case you don't have one. Your dad mentioned something to the effect that your sister saw that there's going to be some kind of press conference today?
Yes.
Okay. Just to let you know, we touched about it briefly last night that we are taking over the investigation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you say we, you mean homicide?
The Kissimmee Police Department.
Oh, okay.
So, but to answer your question, yes, we are now working this as a homicide.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have strong beliefs that Maddie is.
So she says, and I had to check Basil. Basil's fine. He's just being ornery under the kitchen table right now. If he comes back here, Mr. Speculating's going to open the door and let him in. Trigger warning, yes. Hey, MI passenger. So she's like, first of all, she's like, and you mean homicide? Like, just as cool as a cucumber. Excuse me. I'm gonna back it up just a second. She's like, and by you mean homicide, right? Like not bothered, not upset. And it's like, she knew that homicide was going to be working the case, and just, is asking to be sure. By you mean homicide, right? Like, not upset, nothing, just cool as a cucumber. Excuse me? You mean to tell me homicide's working the case of my child? I don't know she's deceased. And, that's not the reaction a normal person would have. It would be upset, cry. What do you mean homicide is working the case? Why do you think she's deceased? We need to keep looking. She could be alive. Don't make homicide work this case, right? But no, not her.
That your sister saw that there's going to be some kind of press conference today?
Yes.
Okay. Just to let you know, we touched about it briefly last night, that we are taking over the investigation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you say we, you mean homicide?
The Kissimmee Police Department.
Oh, okay.
So, but
homicide. By you mean homicide. Oh, okay. Like, just, another day in the neighborhood. Anders Basil is afraid of fireworks and loud noises. They're animals of prey, so it's like even though he's never had to be scared of anything because he's been inside and safe his whole life, he gets scared. And I think it's just in their DNA. It's interesting though. It's kind of cute. Corey said, they be telling me to calm down, ma'am. No doubt. Tiffany said, I agree with you on that, allegedly speculating, but I think that shows how much denial Jim was in. It's possible. Definitely possible. I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up and talk.
But to answer your question, yes, we are now working this as a homicide.
Yeah.
Okay, because
She's just told we're now working this as a homicide. Yep. Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. Like, what? To be clear, she didn't say awesome and fantastic, but she might as well have, in my opinion.
Have strong beliefs that Maddie is deceased.
Now here, she takes a minute, okay? And it's like, okay, wait a minute. You thought that homicide was working the case because you said by you taking over the case, you mean homicide, okay? And it was okay for you then. Like, was it just a word for you? Because now you're going to get upset. Like you didn't. If homicide's taking over the case, you know that more than likely Madeline is deceased, or at least the police think so. And you're like, by you mean homicide. Yep, y'all are taking over. Okay, fantastic. Whatever. She didn't say fantastic, but you get my drift. But then he says more than likely Madeline's deceased, and you're going to try to have a reaction to it. That's weird for me. I mean, it seems like you're trying to force yourself to have a reaction, in my opinion.
So I don't want you to be caught off guard when that's being talked about later, okay?
Am I gonna be there at the press conference? Am I gonna hear it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be something that the family's invited to. Those decisions are way above my pay grade. It's just.
So this is where they think they're invited to the press conference, and she's about to get interrogated. So she doesn't know that they know about the CSA images or anything like that if she had prior knowledge. And she's like, am I going to have to hear it at the press conference? Well, ma'am, you just heard it from the police. You already questioned because you thought that they were homicide, and you were like, homicide's taken over. And you just heard it. So why are you concerned about hearing it at the press conference? Information that you already just heard. Oh, thank you, Abellis. That was super sweet.
It's just, I don't think they would want you there for that just because. But I may be wrong. To answer your question honestly, I do not know.
I've been avoiding the internet because my family is telling me that stuff has been leaked, or reports from you guys on the New York Post or something. They're all traumatized from reading it. They're all telling me, don't. I don't want to. I don't want to hear anything.
Well, the only report that is been released is the stuff that we've already been discussed about, that he was having a relationship with your daughter.
So it might have been afterwards. I'm not sure of the date. I could have been wrong about that, but Yeah, so this would have been afterwards. So she already knew because he talks about, we've already discussed that he was having a relationship with your daughter. So she knows the information. And this part right here made me feel sorry for her. I was like, maybe, I could give her some grace because she does seem accurately upset. But then I listened to the beginning and I'm like, you're just okay with homicide taking over? I don't get that reaction. I don't understand. Rachel says Jen's more worried about what people think than her daughter being gone. And that would make more sense to me.
But somebody said that was like a redacted report or something with graphic details.
Yeah, I don't know what's been redacted and what hasn't. So let me ask you this. Where all have you looked for Maddie?
I haven't looked anywhere. I've stayed while we were at home. While we were allowed to be at home, I stayed at home just in case she would come back. Somebody to be home while she was back.
Okay.
And for now, since I haven't been able to go back home, I've been at my sister's house just hiding out. I don't want to be seen in public. I don't want anyone. I already had my own security gate. Like when I drove in there, they recognized me by my name, and when I told them my name and just the response, I wasn't prepared for just everyone to recognize me and know what's happening.
So she's hiding out from the public. Again, I can understand that because everybody is upset with her. This news has just hit the media that, Stefan was having a relationship with Maddie. I can understand hiding out at her sister's. I can understand all that. My question is, what is she more upset about, right? Because that's the point. Like, you were okay with homicide just a second ago, but now you're upset. Why are you upset?
But I haven't, back to your question, I haven't gone out looking for her because I don't know where to search. And the only place I thought of where to search would be Chico Creek behind her school because of the whole woods comment, but you guys have been doing that and I didn't want to get in the way of that.
Hey, Darla, thank you for being here. Darla said, I think the past few days would have been a swirl of confusion and emotions. Yeah, I could see that, and I can definitely respect that, for sure. Jenny said, if I'm not mistaken, this would have been February 29th. So, yeah, I'm wondering, I'm guessing this might be right after the interview, because they talk about going to the presser, and then at the end of the interview where she's videotaped, they tell her they have her car ready, and so now she's going to get the car. So I'm thinking this is directly after she had the video interrogation that we've all looked at. And that's cool, Anders, that's your birthday. This isn't years ago when you needed to stay home. There's cell phones now. I never understood her not searching. I don't understand that either, but to be fair, I don't know. People react different ways. Now, me personally, you wouldn't be able to keep my butt at home if you sat on top of me, but that's just me. I don't understand it either, but I give her grace because maybe she did want to be at home, but I personally would have been out looking everywhere. That's just me, though.
I don't know where this information came from, and I don't know if it's true or not, but you would be the only person to answer this. Does Maddie have any siblings?
Maddie has a half sibling. No, just kidding. She's got a step sibling.
No, just kidding. That has always stood out to me because, like, to use that phrase instead of no, I mean, or I meant, my bad, I meant to say something like that. She says no, just kidding. It makes me question, and this is me speculating, like, did Stefan ever say things out of line to her? Like, Maddie is such a beautiful young girl and she's got, I don't know, a nice butt or something. And then he says, no, just kidding, just kidding. Like, I don't get the no, just kidding instead of my bad, or I meant to say, oh, I'm sorry, that was a mistake, I mistakenly said whatever, but you say no, just kidding. like a 6-year-old. Yeah, and like, right. Just kidding, like a 6-year-old. Right. It's weird. Bad Girl said, why search when Jen knew she was deceased already? I mean, I have questions for sure.
I was married once upon a time, and we raised our girls together for about 4 years. That's who she would consider her sister.
Okay. Do you know what is Dad's name?
Stephen Young.
Steven?
Yeah.
Where does he live?
In Colorado, but they actually flew in to be with me. So they're here in town right now.
Okay. Do you happen to have a phone number for him?
Yes.
And what's the daughter's name?
Ashlyn Young. ASHLYNN.
How old is she?
Why does it take that long to remember the age of somebody you considered your daughter? I don't know.
I think she'll be turning 15 this year. But I will warn you, she is on the spectrum. So I'm not sure how
that's fine. Okay.
So she gives the phone number.
And that's Steven's number. Yeah. Okay. When were you guys together?
Yesterday?
No, I'm talking about relationship-wise.
Oh.
I think the reflection in his glasses is him holding the cell phone, and then there's walking past behind him because they're in some park or area, and they posed for a picture. What's weird to me is like him and Stefan are behind Jen. Him and Maddie are behind Jen. Like, she's the leader or the one in charge, and it's not her and Stefan together. It's like him and Maddie together. And she's taking a picture, like a family picture. I don't know. That's just weird to me. And not everybody sees it that way. And that could just be me being weird about it. But that was what I saw that kind of struck me about this picture. Sorry. Hold on.
So from 2013 to 2017, he got married in 2015.
And did you guys live in Kissimmee at the time?
We lived in that Kissimmee house for a while. And then for a while we lived separated, where I lived in Kissimmee.
So Corey said, Jen acts like she don't want Maddie found, but she's the one who called the 1-800 missing children line. So either, there's only two answers to that. Either she wanted Maddie found or she wanted to look like that she didn't know, right?
And we lived in a house in downtown Orlando, and we were just seeing each other back and forth.
Gotcha. Okay. This may be a dumb question I'm going to answer.
That's him rubbing. I don't know what that's all about. Abella said there's another pic of Stefan taking a selfie with either Jen, Maddie, or another small female that creeps me out. Oh, goodness. Oh, crap. Hold on. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Oh, let me go back forward a little bit. There we go.
So from 2013 to 2017, he got married in 2015.
And did you guys live in Kissimmee at the time?
We lived in that Kissimmee house for a while. And then for a while we lived separated, where I lived in Kissimmee, and he lived in a house in downtown Orlando, and we were just seeing each other back and forth.
Gotcha. Okay. This may be a a dumb question. I'm going to answer it anyways. Has Stefan ever been around Steven or Ashlyn?
Yes.
He has.
Yeah.
Where? Like, where would they be?
Where would they have hung out?
Yeah.
I think that cop is asking that because he wants to make sure that nothing's happened to Ashlyn. And I hope nothing had. I'm sure Steven was around, though, anytime Stefan was around Ashlyn. Sue Joy said, in hindsight, this whole dynamic has been weird for years. And I agree. Bad Girl said the pick of the three of them is just creepy, like one big happy family. Right. And we know they weren't. That's what makes it weird. Sorry, I meant a reflection of a small female in that other pic. Yeah, I've heard about that. Bearded, sunglasses, and hat. Right. It's weird. It is weird. And it's because of the hindsight, like what we know now. The whole dynamic is weird. Like, absolutely.
I'm going to say at Steven's house, when he lived in Williamsburg by SeaWorld.
Okay.
I remember one instance where we all went trick-or-treating together. But I'm not sure how many times we all hung out as a group. I know he knows him and they've met each other and all that stuff, but I can't recall how many times we've hung out, but we have hung out.
And you said Williamsburg is where? Near where?
SeaWorld.
Oh, okay. How did them two meet? Or how did them two know each other? Steven and Steven.
I introduced them.
Okay.
I thought that they would get along well because they both like nerdy games, nerdy board games. And just kidding, yeah, so they would hang out even on their own for a while because they were playing board games.
She says, oh, yeah, just kidding. They would hang out for a while. Yeah, I mean, again, with the just kidding. It's crazy. Is it possible, Thomas said, is it possible that she's not lying or anything? I don't know. Okay. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that in the interview with the police, they ask her to state what she thinks happened and she lays it out. Like, she says, I don't know. I think he choked her or he drugged her and choked her because there was no mess upstairs, but then quickly follows up with she didn't go upstairs. She was just assuming there was no mess upstairs, and then says that he put her body in the trunk. Like, that's oddly specific for you to not know anything. Like, if you were gonna ask me how I thought my significant other murdered my child, if I thought that they did it, if I was writing a novel or whatever, it would be like, I would think he hit her in the head and threw the body out in the woods or something. Like, that's all normal. But like, to say oddly specific, like words like he drugged her, there was no mess upstairs, but supposedly you didn't go upstairs, she was put in the trunk. Like, that's oddly specific. That's weird. And to know now that that's exactly what happened. It makes it weird for me. Leah said, just kidding sounds odd. It does. Corey said, I definitely think Jen was covering for Stefan. I do too. Darla said no one saw or heard anything and the dogs had already hit on her trunk. But I don't think she knew that at the time she was being questioned. Because even the detectives found it weird. They were like, even the detectives were saying how oddly specific it was, right? You know? She wouldn't have known that the dogs hit on her trunk at that point in time. Hey, Roxanne, a lot of you are saying Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's, guys. New Year's will be tomorrow. We will be doing a stream. Me and Hio are going to do a dual stream about some crimes tomorrow for New Year's Day. But I do hope y'all all have a good New Year's. And I will be back tomorrow. Leah said, I wonder if Madeline spoke with Jen. She could have communicated in Spanish with Jen about the abuse so that Stefan didn't understand unless Stefan spoke Spanish too. That's a good point. There's just a lot of things for me that point to that she knew. Just a lot of weird things. Like even saying, I hope Maddie doesn't, when she goes to Texas to see her dad, nobody films her. I know that there had been a flight attendant that had supposedly filmed people, okay? But that was in the bathroom of the plane, okay? It wasn't using a phone under the door. And she specifically says by using a phone under the door. Like, again, that's oddly specific considering what Stefan did. And I could say, well, maybe Stefan said it to her. Maybe Stefan said, well, you know, there's a lot of sick people out there. I hope nobody sticks the phone under the door to use the bathroom when she goes to use the bathroom on the plane. Okay. So I don't really like go in with all of my thought on that. I think it's weird, but I also think it's something that Stefan could have said to her and she could have thought, well, yeah, that could happen. But there's just other things for me that I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of fishy that you would be saying stuff like that, like the trunk and all of that. Hey, New York City Boomer. Hey, Jen Finn. Thank you for being here.
They were playing board games together for a long while. So yeah, they hung out even without me around. Yeah.
You would happen to know Steven's birthday, do you?
They redacted his birthday.
And you said he lives in Colorado now?
Yeah.
Is Steven married?
Yes.
Is his wife with?
Rachel said mysterious that she said exactly what Stefan did, and I'm sure Jim was aware of Stefan's mom paying people off. She might have been, and it is mysterious to me. Darla said the dogs hit on her car on the 27th. Right, absolutely. But would Jen have known that? Because the police would not have told Jen that. So at the time of the interview, which was the March 1st, where she's told about the CSAM and she says the oddly specific things, would she have known that? I'm trying to remember. I don't think that she knows that at that point in time. Because again, I mean, that doesn't make sense. The police would not tell you that the dogs hit on your car or Stefan's car, at the time of the interview. But I'll have to go back and look and see if the police had told her, or she says she already knew that information somehow. I just don't see the police, doing that. She was at home at the time they searched the car and they took it. Right. But the dogs, hold on, I'll show you. Where are we at? Let me write this down. Oh, Lordy. I just dropped my pen. Hold on just a minute. All right. We're at 9:20. All right. Let me show you. Oh, if my computer will stop being crazy. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat. Stop running so slow. Okay. Let's go. Do. I'll sing some background music for y'all. I make us all question our sanity by singing to you. Right here. Okay. Now, this is central operations. It's not at her house. Okay. So they have her car. I think that one's outside of central operations, right? When the dog hits on the trunk. But she would not have known that this was happening because she would not have seen it. Because see, it's at central operations. So she's not supposed to know about that. Let me see if I can pull the transcript. Let's see if she knew about the dog in the trunk, though. I'm going to try to pull this transcript real quick and get where she mentions the trunk in this video, the trunk in the video, and see what if she says she already knew about it. So hold on just a minute. There was a video where Stephen kept coming out of the apartment. Right, but I don't know. I don't remember that video off the top of my head. Oh my lordy. My computer's being slow. Did I pass it already? Nope. Right there it is. All right, I got to remember how to do the transcript thing. Y'all, how do I search a transcript? Hey, Christina. Okay. I know I go down here. No. Maybe? I'm sorry, my computer's being slow. Hold on a minute. Oh my gosh. Why is it being so slow? There. Okay. How to search a transcript in a YouTube video. Oh my gosh, I just need a text. Control F and okay. Maybe not. Nope. Well, crap. All right, I'm gonna have to stop doing this because I got to go back to the other video. Crap. Control F if you're on Windows. Oh my gosh. Hey, Christina. Okay, I'm gonna have to go. It just exited out and my computer's being stupid, so I can't search. I'll do it later. Oh my gosh. I'll do it later. I'll search that video for what she says about the trunk specifically, but I can't do it right now, Darla. Either way, though, the police would not have told her that the dogs hit on her car at that point in time. It's information she should not have known, and it was just oddly specific, right? Okay. Here we go. Back at it. Let me see what I can figure out while we continue to listen to this, and I'll see if I can pull it. Okay?
A year or two ago? I'm not sure.
Any idea if Steven and Stefan has still been communicating?
Okay. I'm working it on my phone.
In the last few days, yes.
I don't think it's in the last few days because he's been in jail.
No, sorry. Before he got arrested.
How do you know that?
Because we were all contacting each other.
How would you contact each other?
I was texting Stephen Young and making phone calls with Stephen Young. But this is
Would you happen to have those messages on your phone?
yeah.
Can I see?
Yeah. The discussions we were having were like trying to get Stefan a lawyer. This is when I thought he was still innocent, but he's not.
Okay. Question. And hey, Janet Rawlings. Why would you be trying to get Stefan a lawyer? At this point in time, you think he's innocent. All the police have done is take his phone and searched his phone. Why are you trying to get him a lawyer? Because if you think he's innocent, then your thought process would be, okay, they're going to take his phone. They're going to find out he didn't do anything because the police are always going to search the people closest, right? Like They took his phone, they took your phone, they took Maddie's phone. You're not trying to get yourself a lawyer. Why are you calling to try to get Stephen a lawyer? If you think they're just going to take his phone, see that he hasn't done anything, why are you already trying to get him a lawyer? And not only that, after you see a trigger warning, everybody trigger warning. After you see, we know the description of the picture they showed her was a picture of Madeline's face and mouth with his member in it. You're still trying to get him an attorney. The first thing you do when you walk out is call Chris and try to get that man an attorney. Why? Why? I can't. How? Why? Even at the very least, she needs to be charged with child neglect. Something. That doesn't make sense. It's the math's not mathing, y'all. The math's not mathing. Hey, Ashley. Ashley said to try to save herself. Corey said she wants to get him or us. She wants to get Stephen a lawyer to cover her butt too. I mean, it's just, it doesn't add up for me. I'm still trying to find the transcript, Darla.
Tell me about the Williamsburg. Is it like a neighborhood? Is it apartments, condos?
House, neighborhood house. It's
Almost like
just a neighborhood like that. Yeah, but they're like older homes. They're like 2-bedroom homes where the bedrooms are like. Well, the house. I don't even know how to describe this house. Ranch houses.
long, real long.
Yeah.
Ranch house.
Hey, Mima.
Did Steven and his wife live in that at that time?
Yes.
Yes. They owned it or rented it?
They rented.
They rented.
Yeah, and Leah brings out a good point. Jen said the sex stuff was okay, but unaliving Maddie or committing homicide on Maddie would be evil. Like, what? I just can't think that she didn't know. I can think that maybe possibly she didn't know that Maddie was not alive at one point, but I think she found out because of just the oddly specificness of what happened with Maddie and what was done. We know she was choked because of her hyoid bone being broken. You know, and again, I try to see it from all perspectives. Maybe she could think, but she didn't say because it was quiet, right? Like, I think he choked her because it was quiet. She said because there was no mess upstairs. And we know that, and then she follows that up with, but I didn't go up there. So how do you know there's no mess upstairs if you didn't go up there and you've seen forensics taking over your house trying to search? And then she said, we need to do something. They know something because forensics is taking over the house. And she admits that in an interview. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something along those lines. She also says that she's talking to Stephen and he's talking about a phone update, but she slips up and says talking about resetting his phone. And again, but you're not supposed to know this. And if we talk about there not being a mess or anything, you talk about the first thing she said was that he drugged her and then choked her and then put her body in the trunk. I could understand maybe thinking choking because the dogs didn't bark. Okay. But you said, again, because there was no mess upstairs, but yet you follow that up with, but you didn't go upstairs. So you wouldn't know if there was a mess upstairs. Number one. Number two, the drugging part. Stephen looked up a very specific drug that they use before surgery for veterinary purposes and human purposes that it's a speculation his parents had because they breed poodles. Okay, so that's number two. How would you know that? Why was Stephen looking that up on his phone? And number three, she would not have been privy to the information that the dogs hid on the trunk yet when she says he put her body in the trunk. And I'm checking the transcript to see where she said that, but that I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? But not to the extent of I just look like I'm so stupid that I'm walking into walls and shouldn't be driving, right? Like at some point, I've got to say, wait a minute, that's too much. Wait a minute, how did you know that? Like, just like the detectives, I have to say, whoa, wait a minute. The math's not mathing.
You know why they went to Colorado?
I think Stephen was having a hard time finding a job here, something that he liked, but he ended up getting an apprenticeship in Colorado with plumbing. He's doing that now.
How did Stephen know all this was going on?
I
You told him that Maddie was missing.
Yeah.
What was his response to that?
shock.
Yeah.
Everyone's response is shock and disbelief and worry. And he was another father figure to her for a few years. So he's really worried.
I know Detective Morris asked it earlier, but I'm kind of curious. Why didn't you go search for her? I know you said that you didn't typically know where to look, but was there any other reasons why you didn't want to go search?
I wanted to be at home to make sure somebody would be home and she came home.
See, even the police have an issue with her not going and searching, right? Because a normal person would be out there searching all over the place. So why aren't you? Like, even they're having questions about it. If there was roommates at home, but either way, you could have had somebody sit at the house. You could have left a note. And I understand, okay, well, maybe you think she's going to come home and then leave again if she's trying to run away. But you could have put somebody else there and went and searched. Like I said, you wouldn't be able to keep me at home. I would make sure somebody was there in case she came home. But I'm going to be out searching for my child. It doesn't matter. You don't know where to look, but you start somewhere.
I didn't want the house to be alone. And in the last few days, I just feel like, I don't know, the media have been like bombarding us. And since like more news have come to light, it's just, I've been feeling overwhelmed with the attention. And I just need to like preserve my mental health. I just have to stay home and.
Is that rain?
Yeah.
Boy.
Okay.
I tried to go out a little bit yesterday to like keep my mind off of things. Just to buy like, I don't have a toothbrush. I don't do anything. But the moment we were out in public, I felt so exposed and like I shouldn't be out. I shouldn't be doing any of this. I grabbed what I needed quickly and we left. I don't want to be out in public right now.
Did you feel like people were watching you?
Not people were watching me, but I just didn't like the night before that, the security guard's reaction to me telling her my name and who I was, and that I was coming into my apartment.
Okay, we're going to jump over here because I'm going to show y'all. I just want to go over and I'm going to go in. I was reading through the transcripts, okay? And I've got questions. Darla, I hope you're still here. We'll come right back to this. Let me write down what the time frame is. She's talking about how the person at the gate was looking at her weird. And she was upset about that. We're at 14:36. I want to show y'all why I cannot believe that she didn't know anything, okay? We're going to go back to this video interview. I got it 2 hours in, and I'm reading through the transcripts while I'm listening as well. I'm sorry if I missed some of y'all's comments because I was doing that. And it's just, I want to know what your thought process is on this, because when I hear this, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. How the hell did you know that? Right. But for those of you who think that she possibly didn't know and she was just oblivious because of the medication, I want you to explain this to me, what we're going to listen to. Okay. And again, this is open. I love to hear everybody's thoughts, opinions, and speculations. I want you to share your thoughts, opinions, and speculations, especially if we don't agree, because you could make me think, you could make me see something a different way than the way I saw it, okay, to begin with. I would love to know how you would explain this. We're going to start at 2 hours, okay? Because I have questions.
And can make you sleepy.
Okay.
Okay. Marilyn, thank you for being here. Marilyn said, I wanted to wish everybody a happy and safe New Year's Eve. Thank you. I do too. Thank you. Leah said, Jen feeling guilt. We are all looking at Jen because she is weird. Yeah. Okay. So if you're watching this on replay, leave it in the comment section below. We're going to listen to this. I'm going to put the captions up so y'all can hear everything that's said. And I need, this is the part, if I'm going to go with Jennifer is completely innocent. This is what I can't explain. This right here. Like, I can't explain how she didn't know anything, but yet she knows all this information if she really was innocent and didn't know anything. Okay. And again, you're not going to get attacked. We don't attack people here. I like to hear we're open and welcoming, and we respect everybody else's opinions and speculations and thoughts on everything. So please share, because again, if you might make me think, well, yeah, I didn't think about that. She might really be innocent. Okay. I just need this explained. I can't explain it.
And Lunesta, I think, is a sleeping medication, like for insomnia. So I don't know if it's possible he gave her something and she was drugged. And in those photos that you showed me where you're saying she's dead, maybe she was drugged. But if she is dead and it was done upstairs, I could just only imagine that he choked her. I don't know how else you would kill someone and not leave a mess.
How do you think he got her out?
I have no idea, because roommates.
She's not supposed to know that there's a mess upstairs, so she might have already talked about that, because she states that she didn't go upstairs.
They can come in at any time. You guys showed me a picture, I think, of him or her in the car at 7:30 in the morning. My roommate left the house. She's the one who leaves the earliest. She left at 7:45. So like, what if he had waited a little longer? She would have caught him with carrying a body out of the house. How did he do that without being caught or seen? That's what I don't understand, because like, did you guys check and see if any of my neighbors have Ring cameras? Any? Nothing?
I don't know what data we've gotten from them, but at this point, I need to know what you think happened to her. I don't need you to ask us what we found.
Okay.
What we found has happened. I need you to come up in your words, in your mind, what do you think happened that night into Monday, because we do not know. I don't know if her murder occurred Sunday or Monday. All we know is that when you went to bed, they went to bed together, and she's no longer here. So I need to know what you think happened to her, how he got her out of the house, where he went, how he got her into the car, what is your thought on what happened.
I think she was killed Sunday night into Monday morning.
Right here.
I'm thinking he carried her out of the house. I don't know how he didn't get caught by any of my roommates or no one heard.
Hold on. It's going to go more into it. I wanted to catch some of your comments. Hey, Susie Q, and thank you for being here. And Darlene Johnson. Darlene said it's actually common sense to suspect choking. If it has been a gun, you would hear it. A knife would make a mess. Not defending Jen, but not too many other ways. Right, but how did she know there wasn't a mess upstairs? Because she claims to have not gone up there before forensics. And I can try to back it up and find that part if I need to. But she wouldn't know there's not a mess upstairs. So, but again, even if we're going to go with that, right, because the dogs didn't bark, there was no loud noises from up there. Okay. I could see that if you're taking into consideration, well, the dogs didn't bark. I didn't hear any thumping. I didn't hear what sounded like screaming, hollering, or fighting. Okay. I could go with the choking. Like maybe she knew about the choking. But then she talks about he drugged her, which we know he was looking at. There was no mess, which you then claim you didn't go upstairs and look and see if there wasn't any mess, but you supposedly know there wasn't a mess, even though you didn't go upstairs. And the whole trunk situation, like, why would you think he put her in the trunk? Why wouldn't you think he just put her in the car and then went and dumped her body somewhere and came back home? You know what I mean? And I know you're not defending her. I understand what you're saying. I don't want anybody to feel attacked. I'm just asking questions because I don't understand. Like, I can't explain these things other than to say Jen knew, right? So if you can, please let me know. Susie Q said there's far too many times when Jen is either psychic or has guilty knowledge, and Jen's not psychic, so she has guilty knowledge. How does she have guilty knowledge unless she knows? Right, that's where I'm at with it. Hey, Sarah. Thank you for being here, love. And then I'll scroll down. Tiffany said, I have been inclined to think Stefan had said things before, like about the phone under the door thing. This to me sounds like she actually has considered that Stefan had done it. Right. And again, like you're saying with the phone under the door thing, I can give grace because I could say, well, maybe, Stefan suggested it that, hey, I would be worried about somebody sticking a phone under the door and recording Maddie when she's on the plane or when she's gone. And then Jen's like, oh, yeah, people do that all the time. Let me tell him that better not happen. Right. Like I could say that, but like, how would the conversation go where Stefan, I mean, what are you talking? Like how, okay. For Stefan to be the one that knows and have done it, okay? And then you're talking to Jen, and Jen gets this information because Stefan somehow suggested it to her. How did that conversation go? Like, were you sitting there talking about, well, if I did do it, I would have drugged her, choked her, and then put her in the trunk. Like, there's not a conversation topic to come up for them two to be discussing that to where Jen would know this information from basically shedding from Stefan. You know what I mean? Hey, Mayla's mom. Thank you for being here. Real quick, I'm going to read 2 comments and we'll get back to it. Darlene said, I think she's scrambling because she absolutely knew about the abuse, but I think she never expected the other, but I could be wrong. Right. And I could see that. And I don't think she expected the other either, but I think at some point it became, I have done this. It was an accident and I need you to help me cover it up because I can't explain how she knew this. Right. Sarah Lee said something we all keep starting around is that no one is that oblivious to what's going on with their teenager in their own house unless they want to be. Right. That's skirting around is what she meant. But that's where I'm at with that as well. You know what I mean? Real quick, Darlene says she's trying to give the police something because they keep insisting she knows something. She absolutely knows Maddie was drugged. Okay, and if we go with that, how did she know about the trunk? And Darla said that she knew beforehand that the dogs hit on the trunk, but I don't think she did. I'm trying to find that now in the transcript. So we'll get back here to this and we'll see. Because that's what, if she knew about the dogs hitting on the trunk somehow before she started giving this scenario, then that could explain it, right? Like I could be wrong and say, well, yeah, maybe, like you were saying, she knew she was drugged. The dogs didn't bark, so you could assume choking. And she didn't, she knew about the dogs sitting on the trunk. So maybe she didn't know. And maybe she was just making this story up. You know what I mean? So we're going to try to see if we can hear it and find it. Because I don't know how to search the transcript for specific words. And this reiterates my point.
You're saying he drove all around town. I'm not sure where he could have gone.
And then him coming home and leaving and coming home and leaving. What do you think? Knowing that he killed her.
That's suspicious as fuck.
It is suspicious as fuck. But if you're writing a book, what do you write? Let's say this is a fiction novel, right? You're now aware that he killed her. So now you can piece together a story of what happened, right? You don't know the story because you're not him, and you tell me he hasn't told you. So it's
Okay. Darlene said, well, of course you would put a body in the trunk. Who parades a dead body around in the front seat? Stephen did try that. He thought she would appear asleep. Right. But taking into account even that Stephen tried that she would appear asleep. Okay. You have her number one, let me just say, I mean, if I ever was going to do that, I would think if I'm doing what she's doing and saying, if I, he did this, this is what I would think. I would think that he wrapped the body up and then put it in the back seat laying down so nobody would even see it, and it would just look like something in the back seat, right? Like, I that's what I would think. You would put the body in the back seat, and then you would drive to the location where you're going to dump the body, and you would dump the body. Okay? But even Stefan tried to prop her up and make her look like she was awake. Okay? And if you knew that information, because she had been shown the picture by this point of them stating that, here's him driving Maddie around in the front seat, and she looks deceased to me. Does she not look that way to you, right? And I thought it was an interview we're listening to, but I guess it was beforehand. But anyway, if you take that into consideration and know that he drove around with her like that, making her seem like thinking that she was asleep or whatever, why wouldn't you think, okay, he placed her in the front seat and then he went and dumped the body? Like, why are you adding the trunk scenario to it? Even after you know that he's parading her around in the front seat to make it appear she's asleep. Like, why wouldn't you think that he left directly after that or while she was still in the front seat and then dumped the body after that? You know what I mean? Right. All on the crime scene shows the body's in the trunk, yes, but she knows that the body was in the front seat. So I would think, even if I saw that, I would think, okay, well, he took her and he put her in the front seat to make it seem like she was asleep, and then he dumped the body. Like, that would be my, because I mean, and she knows that he had her in the front seat, making it seem like she was asleep. So if you have her in the front seat, I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you know that he had her in the front seat and he's parading her around like she's asleep in the front seat, why would you think he'd put her in the trunk then, right? Because in his mind, he thinks that everybody thinks that she's asleep. So why not take her while everybody thinks she's asleep and dump the body then? Like, why are we adding the trunk to it? You know what I mean? Oh, Darla, there you are. Darla said, if Control F does it, let you word search, you probably need to download transcript PDF. Girl, I'm working on a Chromebook. It sucks. But I'm definitely going to try that. We're listening to it again to see what we can pick up on. It should be right here because they're telling her to write the novel.
It's not real. So you're telling me what you think.
Hey, Linda.
Right? We know he killed her. We know he drove out of there Monday morning. We know he discarded her backpack in the trash dumpster. We know he discarded her laptop and one shoe. Right? So all her property was discarded to look like she's gone. That way he doesn't have evidence with him. They leave. You've been told that they drove around Orange County, Osceola County, wherever it was. We've pieced that together throughout the week. All right? He's told you where, at least in his version of where he was and what he was doing, right? But then you have all these suspicious times of when he's left and come back and he's gone here and gone there. So what do you think he was doing on all these suspicious times? He's roaming 192. What do you think? Knowing what you know now we can play. You know she's dead. You know that we've given you information. What do you think, knowing what you know, he was doing at 192? He was doing here. He was doing here. He was doing in Northport. What do you think?
Okay. They've laid out the information that she knows supposedly right now, and they didn't mention the trunk. Real quick, Linda B said, I would not even answer the officer's questions if I knew nothing, trying to get her to act like she is writing a book about it. Yeah, yeah. They're trapping her to find out what knowledge she knew. That's why I'm going to tell you, and take it to heart, do whatever. But if you ever find yourself being questioned by the police, you need to request an attorney. I don't care what it's for. You need to ask for an attorney immediately and work with an attorney, because they will trip you and they will get you caught up in some stuff. I will say that. Bad Girl says, rest in peace. Darlene said, I'm sorry, I'm trying to give this woman some kind of grace when it comes to the homicide, at least. Okay, now I see what you're saying. Right, like, and I don't want to come off as aggressive, but these are the things that I can't piece together, right? So if you can piece it together and tell me why this, or this, then I might say, okay, well, maybe she really didn't know, right? You know what I mean? It is very disturbing, Darlene. And again, I'm not trying to come off as aggressive. I can't make it work in my mind. So if you can, let me know.
So him leaving early in the morning and driving around aimlessly somewhere. I feel like he stashed the body at that time. When he came back and then left again. But see, it's daytime. Like, how could you move a body or move something in daytime and not be seen? But like, I feel like he went back.
But you would have known that he was able to do it because he made her appear like he was asleep. Like she was asleep, okay? Linda B, you're good, honey. Okay, so at this point, she has seen Maddie in the seat. Yes, she saw Maddie in the seat by this point and knew that he had been driving her around to make it look like she was awake. You don't think Maddie ever used the word hoopty Anders? I don't either. Yeah, Darlene, when you get a law, you immediately look guilty, but you could also end up going to jail for some things you didn't do. I'd rather look guilty than go to jail for something I didn't do. When you walk in those shoes, you tell these people are wrong. F the lawyer. Are you out of your mind? Hell no. Okay. Thank you for being here, Alba. Stop the judgment. Who am I judging, sweetheart? I'm not trying to judge anybody. If it seems that way, I'm sorry. Please let me know. Because I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. I apologize for that. Yeah, me, Mom. Why is she so calm? Right.
Back to check to make sure he did a good job or to move the body again. I don't know. But him leaving the house multiple times without his cell phone is sketchy as fuck. It's so suspicious.
Which is an intentional act. It's not accidental, so that can play into what you think happened.
And why would you think he moved the body or visited the body multiple times? Like, normally you would think he would dump the body and then stay the hell away. You know what I mean?
Do you think phone being on the dresser?
It was intentional. Her cell records and her cell data from her cell phone show it is not common for her to leave her phone at home.
Interference. Stop trying to kill more people, Alba. I'm not trying to kill anybody. I've never killed anyone, so I can't kill more people because I've never killed any people. If you feel that way, I'm sorry. My name is allegedly Speculating, and so we share our thoughts, opinions, and speculations. I don't know.
For her to go to school with her. You know, teenager leaves their phone at home. That's what they're attached to it.
She's left her phone multiple
Her
times.
cell data shows that normally it goes with her. So that's intentional. You know it's intentional because he left his too.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's an accident last Friday, this Monday, was not an accident.
Yeah.
So you think that he dumped her when he was driving around. You think that when he left, he went to check her body. Okay.
Why would you go back out to 182 without your cell phone?
I don't disagree. So he goes out to 192. We think he may have checked where he dropped her or dumped her. He comes home. He tells you they're just roaming around aimlessly. Right?
Yeah.
So that's twice on 192 in one day because he went to look at the house of cards bullshit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then he went to do the roaming to look for her on this random highway that he never goes to. Okay.
See, I could see up to this point, even though I think it's sus that she's like, well, he went back out to the scene to check the body or whatever. If I take into account, she said that he left his cell phone at home and was driving around aimlessly. Okay, maybe I can understand, because if you take into account that he left his cell phone at home twice and that's unusual for him, then what would he be doing the second time he left unless he was going out to the scene, I guess. I mean, I still think it's sus that she would say that, but okay, I can give you that. I can even give you that. Hey, Stoic Dissension, thank you for being here. And it is a body, excuse me, that's your daughter, right? Yeah, I definitely don't think she's the parent of the year. Hey, Overprotected. Oh yeah, that's Inspector BS. Basil is under the table right now, but I think he'll be back here soon. All right, let's keep going. So far, I could give her grace. Maybe she's just putting stuff together in her head, I suppose.
Next day and the next day. Think of the suspicious things he's done. Tell me what you think he's doing.
Him grabbing my phone and trying to log into his emails, that seems kind of suspicious.
Let me see.
What was he trying to see? What was he trying to do?
I'm going to scroll up and see if I can search the transcripts to make sure it hasn't already passed. I know Darla told me how to do that, so I'm going to check that real quick while we listen.
The thing is, when he had my cell phone, now that I think back to it, he had something wrapped around it, so the phone was under a blanket, and he was like this. I tried looking at the screen at one point, and I could see an email. But
And that was the cell phone we took from you today, or you gave us today.
Yeah.
Oh, Control plus F. Okay. Okay, I'm going to make it smaller just so I can search the transcripts while we're listening, and then we'll see where it's at. Hold on a minute. It'll take a second to get back where it's supposed to. There we go. Okay. There we go. Thank you, Darla.
Can you guys tell me if this is true? Because I recall a family member telling me something, like my sister. Was the last thing searched on it Amber Alert?
Her cell phone has Amber Alert searches in it, but I looked through her cell phone last night. I do believe that she may have been clicking on links for Amber Alerts that came through. I don't think she was actually searching them.
Okay.
They could have just been links she clicked on.
I wasn't sure
Hey,
if
Slow Southern.
Googling on her phone about Amber Alerts, or if that was her.
That we will never know. He is not obviously cooperating.
Can you guys explain what happened yesterday?
For that, I need you to continue going with.
Yeah. Where are we at?
Suspicious utilization of your phone.
Of the phone.
Okay.
Him disappearing multiple times. Him disappearing to Northport.
Okay, it's going to be actually in the next minute or two that she's going to talk about the trunk situation. This is the part I can't get past. So I'm making it back full screen. Thank you, Darla, for telling me how to search this transcript. And we're going to keep going. It's going to be at between 2:08 and 2:09. So I think it's right here.
What the hell is he doing? That is suspicious. I mean, now that I know that that's where he went, that is suspicious as all fuck. Why did he go to a storage unit facility? What was he grabbing? What was he trying to dispose of? Or what was he trying to hide in the... That to me is suspicious.
Do you put more weight on that than 192?
192, no, because 192 would be... Something happened in Northport. There'd be no reason he would take...
Do you understand what I was
So
asking?
they're asking her basically, do you think that they would put he would put Maddie in the storage unit as opposed to 192? Rachel said Thomas always found that interesting because they have video of him moving Maddie to the trunk. Maybe it was because she hadn't been gone long. Thoughts? I didn't catch what Thomas said. Darla said, I don't know, maybe shock or numbness sets in, and then if you're heavily medicated to get through it, I don't know. Yeah, and that could be like she's not correlating what she's actually saying, like the word, they're just words coming out. She hasn't clicked that she's talking about her daughter. Maybe I could understand that too. She's so mad he hid things from her, but not mad that he killed her. Right. Like, and again, I have to go with what Mima's saying. She's mad about him hiding things, but not mad that Maddie's deceased. I mean, but at the end of the day, all that shows is that she was a shitty person as far as it came to Maddie. If I'm being,
with that phrase,
looking from all sides.
putting weight on it. Like, do you feel like it's more suspicious what he was doing in Northport versus 192.
You're good, Thomas. I'm sorry, overprotected.
I don't know which one's I don't know which one is more suspicious to me. They both 192 seems to me like the easiest place he could have dumped her or like figured out where to put her. Unless she was in my trunk the whole time and he went to Northport.
Okay, so she's not going back to this, the whole reason for all this, unless she's in my trunk the whole time he went to Northport. Number one, you have seen pictures of her sitting up in the front seat where she appears to be sleeping, or so he thinks, and he's driving around with her. Like, you know that information. So why would you think that he would then move her to the trunk if he's driving around all morning with her in the front seat trying to make it appear that she's asleep and he's comfortable enough to do that? Why would you bring the trunk in? Why would you think he ever put her in the trunk? That's weird. Like, maybe if she thought, okay, he put her in the trunk to begin with and he just drove around all this whole time with her in the trunk, maybe if she's coming up with a scenario of how he could have done this, okay? But no, she already knows that Maddie had been in the front seat. He was trying to make it appear that she was deceased. So why are we bringing the trunk into this situation? I can't explain that. And then she's using it like maybe he put her in the trunk when he went to Northport. So it's not information that she already knew. She did not know that the dogs had hit on the trunk yet.
The trunk of your car?
Yeah.
Didn't you drive your car at some point? Did you guys sit in your car at some point?
I did. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have probably smelled something, but I didn't. So I'm just trying to think. I'm like, did he stash a body in Northport? No, I don't think so. He's probably hiding something or destroying something.
And again, it was in his car. You know it was in his car. So why would you ever think that the body was in your car? Like, why would you think that the body was in your car? You saw her in the front seat of Stefan's car. You know he was going back and forth that day to whatever he was doing with her in her car, in his car. So why would you think he would put her in the trunk of your car? Because then if we go with that scenario, he would have to take her out of his car and put her in Jen's car in the trunk without anybody seeing. Why would he take that risk? Like, why would you think he would take that risk unless you already knew that he did? And we know that she was in the trunk of Jen's car because the dogs hit there. We know that, but she doesn't know that. Or she's not supposed to know that. Susie Q said, but how do you explain her legitimate breakdown in tears at the beginning of this interview because she realized her birthday is the next day? Your birthday should never have a bigger impact. Right. I mean, again, I'm with you 100% on that. Sue Joy said the security guy even saw her when Stephen Stearns went back for the clicker that he had in his hand. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So I guess 192 would probably be the most important right now.
For being in the trunk.
And again, let me just reiterate that, okay, if you just found out in this interview, the police are telling you that she's deceased or more than likely deceased or whatever, you just found out around this time and you're trying to figure out what happened. You know she was in the front seat. He was making it appear that she was sleeping, and you know she was more than likely deceased because she's already been told that by the police. Because they show her the picture and they say, what does this look like to you? And she says, Maddie's sleeping. And the cop's like, really? Because it looks like she's deceased here. Okay, we know that happened. She's been shown the picture of her sitting in the front seat. And then you know that Stefan has a flat tire after he's been out this day. Why would you not think, if you're trying to put the story together, why wouldn't you think, okay, like if I had just that information, I would say he drove her around in the front seat, making it appear that she was asleep. He took her and stashed her wherever he was going to stash her. That's when he got the flat tire, and then he came back. Like, why would you also add that he went out to visit the body? He somehow moved the body from the trunk to the car from the front seat to the trunk of my car. Like, why? I mean, because it doesn't make sense. If you're laying this out, it doesn't make sense to make that extra chance of somebody seeing you move the body from the front seat to the trunk, or even from the trunk of his car to the trunk of her car. But she says the trunk of her car. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. You know what I mean? He came, yeah, right. He came back twice. But why wouldn't you think that he had already stashed the body when he got the flat tire and then he wasn't doing anything at, like, why would you think he still had the body? And not only that he had the body, that he moved it from the front seat of his car to the trunk of your car. I can't make that make sense. Hey, occasionally classy. And more guilt knowledge, her slips up. She knew Maddie was in there. Right. That's what I'm thinking. For Freudian slips. And Darla, again, please don't think I'm attacking you. I'm just trying to, like, see it from your point of view. You know what I mean? That's what my channel's all about, seeing it from your point of view. So I appreciate it. The flat tire was in the afternoon. Right. But you know that, okay, we know that morning because she's been shown the picture of Madeline asleep in the car that morning. Okay. Then he leaves that morning and he goes and gets the flat tire while Jen is at school trying to pick up Maddie because he's not able to go because he goes out and he gets the flat tire. Why wouldn't you think that that's when he dumped the body? He got the flat tire, dumping the body, and then came back. That would be my thought process. And maybe I could even say, like, okay, if he came back, but okay. So if I was her, maybe I could even say, okay, well, he came back. I walked outside and got in my car to go to the blood appointment, and I didn't see Maddie in the car, and I didn't see her in the back seat. So therefore, he had to put her in the trunk of the car because he didn't have the flat tire yet. He would have had the flat tire when she left to go to school. So she would say, okay, when I went out to go get my doctor's appointment to do the blood draw, I didn't see Maddie in the car. I know she was in there that morning because the police have shown me a picture where he was pretending she was asleep and she wasn't awake, and you know, she knows she was deceased, whatever. Okay. And he was driving around that morning, and then he came back. Maddie's not in the car. I didn't see Maddie in the car. So therefore, where was Maddie? Because he wouldn't have gotten rid of her. Even if I would think he got rid of her, but even if I'm going to say, I'm assuming he got the flat tire when he got rid of her, where was Maddie during the time period that I came out, went to the doctor, and I didn't see her? Maybe I could say he put her in his trunk or stashed her somewhere until he could go dump the body later, which he does when he gets the flat tire. But how does it become, even if you're going to go with that, something like that, okay? How does it become from his trunk to her trunk? Why did she say the trunk of my car? Because again, logically, you would think that he got the flat. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, Wolfpack.
Trunk is oddly specific.
The only reason I say that is because
I'm not trying to
what you
just
guys
talk. I'm just, I see all your comments. I'm just highlighting hers because I'm trying to work with her to try to see it, you know, try to figure this thing out. Darla said, right, I would. And she said he came back and hung out with her. She didn't see Maddie and he left again, but left his phone. Right. And even if you're going to go with that, like, okay, let's say I didn't see Maddie in the car. So therefore he had to put her somewhere. Maybe he put her in the trunk of his car. Okay, I can get that. And then he comes back with the flat tire. I would think that's when he dumped the body. But how did he get, why does she say the trunk of my car, not the trunk of his car? You know what I mean? Well, yeah, I don't know how it becomes her trunk, except that they took her car. Yeah, he took her car and he went to Northport, but it was after he had the flat on his tire, because the reason he took Jen's car was because he had the donut on his tire. So if I'm in Jen's point of view and I add in that, you know, I didn't see her in the front seat again when we go to the blood appointment, and I'm going to think that, okay, he had a flat tire. That's unusual. He has a donut on his car. So therefore he's driving somewhere or whatever. I would think that's where he would dump the body, because you would get a flat tire driving in an area where you're trying to dump a body. It's still not going to, I mean, why would I think that she was ever in my car? I would think by that time he had gotten rid of her, and then he's in my car meandering. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You feel me, dog? Mary says, something bothers me. If she was sleeping, how did she know most of this except she repeated Stefan's story, even if didn't know anything? Meds sometimes numbs your reaction to things. I'm on meds too. Yeah, if she was sleeping, how did she know most of this except she repeated Stefan's story? Well, yeah, either she knew more than she said or she repeated the story Stefan said, in my opinion. He was in Jen's car, yeah. But still before this interview. I'd think I'd not come home with the body in the first place. Right. But if we're going to say that he did come home with the body because okay, taking everything into account, we're going to say he did come back, because I would think when I saw the donut on the car, I would say, okay, you're only going to get a flat tire if you're going in areas where you could get a flat, like, rough terrain. So I would think, knowing, like, being asked later and adding all the events together, I would definitely think he got the donut trying to dump the body because he popped a tire trying to go into rough terrain where he dumped the body. Okay, so then I would say, well, how did I not? Because he was driving around with her in the front seat looking asleep all morning. But when I went out to my car, which is presumably parked beside Stefan's car, I didn't see her in the car. So where was she? Because if he still had her in the front seat, I would have seen her him propping her up, her pretending to be asleep. Like, I could even say that he must have had her in the trunk because the tire wasn't flat yet. The tire getting flat doesn't happen until after I come back from the blood appointment. We've hung out for a while. I go to pick up Maddie. He leaves again to go get his vape juice or meander or what the hell ever, and that's when he gets a flat tire. So I would say maybe he had her in the trunk of the car. That's why I didn't see her when I went to my blood appointment. And then she was in the trunk of the car the whole time we're at the house hanging out and all that. And then I leave to go drop her off at school, and he leaves to go, or I leave to go pick her up from school, and he leaves to go dump the body. And that's how he got the flat tire. And he dumps the body. And then he comes back and puts on this facade for the cops and all of these things. And then I let him use my car because he has a donut on his car. That's still not why would she ever think that Maddie was in her trunk? You know? Right. She's looking at him being gone again and leaving his phone, but then also wondering why they took her car. Well, they took her car because Jen said that she didn't want Stefan driving around on a donut because he had a donut on his car. So I don't understand how she was in the trunk of your car. You know what I mean? Because that doesn't make sense, because they took her car because he had the donut on his car. And so he started using her car because of the donut. And if I'm thinking that he got the donut dumping the body, then how did Madeline get in my car in the trunk? Like, why would I think that? Because he used my car because he had the donut on his car, and I'm going to think that he got the donut dumping the body. Darlene said, I'm sure Stefan told her, I'm the boyfriend. I was the last one with her. We have to get our story straight. And that's believing that Jen has knowledge of abuse, but not the murder. Right. And I could think that until she says the trunk of my car. Like when she just said the trunk of my car going to Northport. Like, how did she get in the trunk of her car? Where does that come in? Darlene said, and I'm not sure of her guilt or innocence on the murder. I just don't know. She looks guilty in a lot of ways. She does. Yes, the dogs, the weird thing was that the dogs hit on Jen's trunk and they didn't hit on Stefan's. Okay. But we know she was in Stefan's front seat and then they put her in the trunk. That was weird for me. But I think they had searched Stefan's car one time before or something. But in that video, they show that the dogs hit on Jen's trunk. I'm going to read these comments real quick and we'll get back to the video, or we might, we'll watch a little bit more of this and go back to the other one. Boomer says, just like she says clothes when asked about what Stefan Stearns threw away in the garbage. Yeah, clothes. Why would she say clothes? That's a good question. That's a good point. Corey raises his hand. Why wasn't Stefan in a hurry to stash Madeline until after Jen went to pick Madeline up? No urgency at all. Good question. I'm not sure. She knows something happened with her car because the law enforcement took her car. But I would think that they're searching my car just because that's a normal thing to do. But she does know at this point that they took her car because she's getting the car right after this interview. But that wouldn't make me think that he had put Madeline in my car. That would make me think they're searching my car to see if he did. But I wouldn't think that at this time. I would think, they're just doing their job, searching my car. I wouldn't necessarily think she had been put in the trunk yet. Like, I wouldn't think that she was in my car at all. I would think they're going to search my car and not find anything because she was in Stefan's car and he dumped her body when he got the flat. And then Flee the Matrix, thank you for being here. And Shaboogies, I'll read yours. Flee the Matrix said it came out that she told her family before she talked to Madeline's friend or the school teacher that she didn't make it to school before she knew. I need to verify that, but I have heard that. And thank you for sharing. Flee the Matrix, and thank you for being here. Shaboogie says she's hiding something big, whether it's her involvement in abuse or both. I think she's definitely hiding her involvement in the abuse, for sure. But whether she knew about the murder or not is one thing I could never pick up but I can't explain how she knew that Madeline was in the trunk of her car. Well, if she said her car, then doesn't that show she doesn't know Maddie was in his trunk? Yeah. I mean, she hasn't admitted to knowing that he was in her trunk. Let's see. We're going to go back to 2 hours and see how she says her car. It's just 10 more minutes. I mean, there's nothing pressing that we have to do. So let's listen again.
You guys showed me a picture, I think, of him or her in the car at 7:30 in the morning. My roommate left the house. She's the one who leaves the earliest. She left at 7.
I'm going to take it back just a little bit so we can get all of this context. So right there, she knows that. Right there, we know that she's been shown the picture because she says she's been shown the picture of Madeline asleep in the front seat, or supposedly asleep. I'm going to take it to 153.
Because it's a place you guys have talked about together.
Because it's a wooded area with a lake with gators. Like, we haven't discussed.
Okay, I'm going to take it back. We'll just do this today and then go back to the other stuff at some point. Let's just talk about this because I'm really interested. This conversation we're having, I really like it. I'm going to take it back to 1:30. Okay. Sue Joy says she's fishing for what they know. She's more animated and angry about Northport trip than Maddie being unalived. I can definitely see that. Yeah, I'm just speculating too, but I love it because I'm getting other, like, we all feel like Jen Soto's guilty and want her arrested, right? But it's interesting to see why people think the way they do and see if we can run scenarios. Like, I love that. Excuse me for cussing, but I love that shit. I love running scenarios to say, okay, what if she didn't know? Can we make it make sense that she didn't know? Can we make it make sense that she did? I feel like she 100% knew about way more than anything, but I like running these scenarios and trying to figure it out. It really makes me, like, I get excited and animated about it. Hey, Cece. Cece said, I'm new here. I would love to see the times of Maddie's phone steps with Stefan and Jen's timelines. Oh, that's a good idea. I've got a lot of information. I've got to get a timeline going. All right, so let's listen.
Because of him or because of not wanting to believe she's deceased?
Because of him. Because I thought he was a good guy.
So up until this morning, you still think that it's not?
No.
You're talking about the other day?
Up until
when we took him?
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot what day of the week that was.
So we're still going through his phone, his drives, like I told you, all his socials. We can date back to 2020. Based on the videos, it appears that was the start of the victimization. Okay, are we going to find anything in his phone with you?
No. He never done anything. He's never done anything.
Has there ever been a request for the two of you to participate in sexual activity with him?
No.
Regardless of you saying no or yes?
No, he's never asked that.
Okay. If we find pictures like that, is that going to surprise you? So if I'm in his Google Drive, if I have a sex crimes detective, a computer person look at his phone, and they tell me, hey, Kevin, I found a picture engaged in sexual activity or borderline sexual activity, is that going to surprise you?
Yes, because that doesn't exist.
Okay.
Okay, now going with that, she didn't know any. Okay, it's hard for me to say that maybe she was involved because I know that at this point, she knows that, let's say she was involved or whatever, she knew that Stefan knew, had the pictures or whatever, and they decided together that they were going to do a master reset because she does reference that or whatever. Okay. So she knows that even doing a master reset's not going to erase everything. And they ask her, were you involved? Is there pictures of you, or are we going to find pictures of you borderline doing sexual things with Maddie and Stefan? Were you ever asked or anything like that? And she says, yes, it would surprise me because they don't exist. It's not possible for there to be pictures like that because they don't exist. I believe that they don't exist. I believe that there's not pictures like that because of the way she's like, they don't exist. And she already knows that they pulled all the information from Stefan's Google Drives, even though he tried to do a master reset. So I can believe that she is not involved in the CSAM stuff. I don't believe that she didn't know about it, though. I believe that she was like the mother to their relationship, Maddie and Stefan's. Darlene said at certain points when she really sobs and cries, my mama heart kind of feels bad for her. But then feeling like she knew about the abuse just makes me mad and suspicious again. So yeah, that's where that's where I'm at with it. So I want to run this, and I know I want to run this like, let's see if we can make it make sense that she didn't know about the abuse, anything. She didn't know anything. Let's try she didn't know anything. Let's see if we can run this and make it seem like she didn't know. What points are we going to come to that we just can't explain her knowledge of? And right now it would be the trunk. Like, I maybe could understand everything else except her referencing Maddie being in the trunk of her car. Darlene said, I can't get past the Woody Allen part and the lawyer part. Those two things are very damning to her. They are. I can't explain that either. Because she's trying to get a lawyer for him when they've just taken his phone. And any normal person would say, okay, they're just taking your phone. Let them check your phone. And you haven't done anything, right? So why, we don't need a lawyer at this point. They can't make him go to jail for something he didn't do. Occasionally Classy said, I like that we're having a big collaboration or conversation speculating about what we've gathered from this case, our own experiences and thoughts to piece this together. It's cathartic, I think is what that says. I like that. I like it too. It makes me happy. Thank you, Occasionally Classy, for saying that. Well, I think Jen may have CSAM Maddie, just not caught in film. It's possible. Definitely possible. For 7 years, she has no idea. Right, Mima? Like, I can't. I'm with you, but I'm going to try to see if we can make it make sense. Roxanne said, I think maybe Jen didn't know all the income Stearns had going on with those nasty pictures. I definitely think, taking into consideration that I think it was 1,700. The numbers are 37,000 and 17,000. And I think it was 37,000 images and 17 of those were Maddie or had Maddie in them. You can't, you're not to be graphic, trigger warning, all the things. You're not going to have 37 images for personal use or 37,000 images for personal use. That's not personal use. That's not personal, doing whatever your shit is and looking at pictures for whatever reason. You're still not going to have 37,000. Okay. That's not personal use. That's that is distribution, mass production with intent to distribute. And then real quick, Meemaw said, I think Stephen Stearns deleted all the photos. He didn't know because they got him. They got him. And at this point, she knows that they got him. So if she was in any, she would be like, she would not have said, yes, it would surprise me because I'm not in any of them, with such tone in her voice, like she knows 100% that they're not going to find any. Roxanne said the lawyer comment may bring Jen down in the end. It might. It might have been, I know it was 37,000. I think it was 17,000. Wolfpack said, I find it hard to believe Maddie never had any kind of issues in all those years. I do too. I've thought about that too, to be honest. Melissa Free Range Psychic, thank you for being here, said, if Stefan never did laundry and he abused Maddie for years, who took care of the dirty sheets? Well, I mean, if I'm going to explain that, I could say that there was white sheets on the bed, and we know there was white sheets on the bed. So you would know, unless there was blood on the bed, she would not necessarily have seen the stains. And I mean, I don't know about you, but like when I do laundry, it's usually just balled up and I grab it from the hamper and throw it in the wash. So I wouldn't have thought anything. And to be fair, even if I saw some blood on the sheets, I might would think that she bled through her pad or whatever, like, and got blood if she was on her cycle. Now I can't, I mean, and again, I go back to like keeping track of the cycles, right? Like, I don't keep track of my young children's cycles because I know they're not sexually active. But I could see maybe keeping track of it. I mean, there's reasons for that. Some people do keep track of it, even though they know that their child's not sexually active. So I could, if I'm trying to say that Jen didn't know anything, I could say all these things, right? I think she did. I would have done things differently. But I could say that maybe she didn't know because she wasn't searching the sheets for stains. And maybe she was just keeping track of her cycle to keep track of her cycle. Maybe the doctor told her that at this age you need to keep track of it or something. Okay, I could explain that, I suppose. I saw Melissa was here. I wanted to say hey to Melissa. Okay. Hey, Melissa, if you are here, I'm going to play this back.
Any time during the course of your relationship has he expressed that he has ever had sex with a child?
No. Not a child, but when he told me when he was in high school, he graduated high school like later, like older than 18.
Okay.
He dated somebody younger than 18. I think she was 15. But I don't know how old he was, 19, 20. But he was an older kid in high school. He graduated late. But he had a really young girlfriend. Her name was Kendall. And I thought that was weird. I was like, that's a little too young. He goes, no, it's fine. We were in high school. Everything was normal. Her parents loved me. Blah, 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 blah. But that's the only one.
Have you ever gone through his phone? Okay. If you had to, knowing Stefan, knowing where he lives, knowing where he goes, how he conducts his life, give me your top 5. I know you've had to have thought about it. If you haven't thought about it, that's another weird thing I got. Since Monday, right? We told you on Wednesday that we think he did it.
Yeah.
So from Wednesday till today, it's about 48 hours. Give me your top 5 places you think are possibilities based on knowing him, based on knowing his path of travel. Where do you think? It doesn't have to be based on evidence, just in your gut. Give me your top 5 places where you think he.
Abellis, my love, you might be right. Abella said I thought it was 1,700, not 17,000. Maybe I'm wrong on that. You might be right. Even at 1,700, you take into account 7 years, I still think that's a lot. And I know there was 37,000 images of other children and things. So I mean, that's not personal use. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, that's a question, but I'm not going to believe that Maddie never had any infections or anything like that, but she was seeing a doctor regularly. I mean, she was on Miralax, she was getting her Adderall and her antihistamine that she was using for bipolar. Those are the only 2 I know for a fact that she was on. So she had to see a doctor on pretty much a monthly basis, and they would have checked her, and maybe she really didn't have any issues like that. And so I could say that maybe she didn't know, you know what I mean? I don't know. Or maybe it got explained in other ways because I've had one of my youngest had a UTI, but it was because she wasn't wiping the right way, not to get graphic or anything like that. And I know for a fact that's what it was. And, so maybe even if it did come up, she would have thought that it was just maybe she wiped the wrong way or her underwear rubbed her the wrong way or something like that. So if I had to explain it away, I could. I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up. Not necessarily explain it away, but like I could see how maybe you didn't pick up on that. I mean, I when I take that into account along with all the other things, I can't. But again, we're gonna try to see if we can make it seem like she didn't know anything. So far, I can't explain the trunk, how she would have thought Maddie was in her trunk.
In this area,
Doesn't have to be this area.
no, I know.
Anywhere you want.
I'm saying in this area, I have no idea. Orlando, Kissimmee, no idea where he could have taken her. But his trip to Northport is weird as fuck. I feel like in Northport, he knows more people. He has more friends. There could be a place and somewhere there he could have stashed her. You guys said he went into a storage unit. That would be another place to look. But there's plenty of woods around his house. Around that exit is kind of secluded. Like,
When you say his house, you mean his parents' house?
his parents' house, yeah.
You've been there? Have you seen the property?
Yeah, I've been there before.
Occasionally, Classy said, I don't inspect sheets either. It's tossed in all balled up. I check my dog's bedding before I wash it, but we have ticks and any Dutch hound and one that's handicapped dog, a lot of health issues. Oh, I'm sorry about your dog. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people would just throw it in balled up and not really think much of it. Shaboogie said, did y'all see Judge Gold denied the motion to have evidence not destroyed? Wow, I did not know that. Thank you for sharing. I'll have to pull that up. Melissa said, did Stephen ever abuse Maddie on Jen's bed? We don't know. We could say maybe. We could say no. I don't know. Hasn't been verified.
Do they have land? Or is it in like a neighborhood?
So it's not a neighborhood because they don't have HOA. You just buy the plot of land and build it. They don't have many neighbors.
Okay.
Or last I saw, I think there was a neighbor building right next door, but I don't know if they're done yet.
Right,
I
Darlene?
just feel like he had more. There would have been more spots in Northport for her to be dumped. Because from what you guys have told me, he went to St. Cloud, he went to 192. Could you guys tell where he turned on on any of these roads? It's just that he was on the main road.
Melissa had stated earlier and states again, but sheets that have semen on them smell a certain way. I don't know. I've never smelled that. To be fair, but I also have never stuck my face in the sheet to smell it. And I'm not saying you have either, but my point in saying that is, would it be strong enough, especially if you consider like Jen and the way her house is and everything, I can pretty much almost guarantee that the sheets would have been balled up. So would she have necessarily smelled it if they were all balled up and it was like in the middle of the ball or something? I mean, and you add sweaty, stinky clothes because Stefan was a stinky person that didn't shower very often. So I would think in a laundry basket, I would probably smell the sweaty stinkiness of Stefan Stearns in those clothes over some semen on the sheets. You know what I mean?
I didn't think he ever even knew where St. Cloud was because we've never driven down that way ever.
You live in Kissimmee, right?
Yeah, I know, but to me, he's never had a reason to ever drive down to St. Cloud.
I agree, Melissa.
There's no store or anything he goes to down there. Everything is in Kissimmee or Orlando by the mall.
Florida Mall?
Yeah.
Orlando Mall?
Yeah, Florida.
Real quick, hey Zadiah and Chrissy, you're not late. Zadiah, you're not late. You got here right when you were supposed to be here. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being here. Chrissy knows it all. Happy New Year's Eve to you as well, love.
I sent the last detective 3 spots. I could have recalled him telling me he wanted to visit Monday when he left the house in the afternoon and got the flat tire. He had mentioned a few of those shops, so I sent them over to you guys. There's honestly nowhere I can think of. We've never gone to. The only wooded area that we've ever gone together
Hold on.
would be Shingle Creek Regional Park, where the Pioneer Village is.
Okay.
That whole trail there, we had scooters, and he had like a
My I'm sorry. For some reason it yeeted me out. I was trying to say Miss Kimmy said a comment that I'm not going to read. Hold on, let me pull this back up. We're right where we left off. And it referenced basically that when you get a child into a good counselor, you know, they are more than likely, the counselor can find out if they're being abused or not. And I was trying to type a comment when it decided to yeet me and mess up. And my response to that would be like, right, we took her to the psychiatrist and things like that. And the psychiatrist is going to diagnose a young child at the age of 11 or 12 with bipolar, but not think about abuse. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm back. My computer said yeet and put me right out the window. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, so it did send my comment before it yeeted me, and I had said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Miss Kimmy." Right? I'm like, how was she seeing the counselor that diagnosed as bipolar, but not a possibility of abuse? Like, why wouldn't the count? But I mean, to be fair, maybe the counselor did ask her about it and she denied it. I'm not sure.
like an electric skateboard kind of thing. We would all cruise. We would all cruise the creek, explore. We've taken a canoe up that creek before. Um, then the Kissimmee Trail. There's a trail that runs right behind my house that starts right behind my house and goes all the way to that bridge on Giant Young Parkway that says Kissimmee on it. That whole trail, we've done that as well. That's the only places I could think that like he may have gone, because that's where I know I've gone with him before. But anywhere else, I have no idea.
So our ERT team, it's called Emergency Response Team. It's just a group of people who search areas. It doesn't have to be wooded, can be wooded, can be swampy. They've been out for 3 days. They're going to be out all weekend. They will eventually, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's in 2026.
Right, Melissa.
Okay? I don't think you want that to take too long. Right? I'm sure you'd like to have a funeral. I'm sure you'd like to have some kind of memorial service.
Tanya, you
The
got
last
your
thing you want is for us to call you in a year and say, hey, we found remains. We don't know.
Tanya, you're not late, honey. You got here right when you were supposed to be here.
Okay. That may not be something you thought about till just now, but I can tell you, being someone who investigates homicide, that is something that everybody has to come think about eventually. If you can think of anything that would assist us in making that happen for you today versus 2 years from now, regardless of why you know or how you know, we need it.
No, I know. If I knew anything, I would tell you.
To reiterate, we're trying to run the scenario that Jen didn't know anything about where Maddie was and that she, like, how Stefan had committed homicide at this point. We're running that scenario and seeing if we can make it work. To reiterate what we're doing right now. If y'all don't mind, please hit the thumbs up so we can get out into the algorithm. The more you hit the thumbs up, the more they put us out into the algorithm, and the bigger our speculating family can get. Thank you for that.
Tell me right now. I promise. I want her back.
So bad. I don't want to think about planning a funeral.
I think that's genuine emotion over the fact that Madeline's not here. I do. I can say that. I think that's genuine emotion. Yeah, Darla, right. I agree with you on that. That's not fake crying. I do think that's genuine emotion. But I think that she says some things that there's no way she would have said it if she didn't know something.
What has your communication been like with his father since this?
I've limited contact over the last 2 days because I know too much and I don't want to tell them anything.
You don't want to tell them what we've told you, or you don't want to tell them what?
See, that's weird because I know too much and I don't want to tell them anything. But if I'm going to go with she didn't know anything, I could say that maybe she meant she knows a lot about the CSAM stuff and she doesn't want to have to talk to Tyler about it. But again, at that time, this was all over the news and he already knew about it. So maybe, but I mean, again, maybe she's saying it because she don't want to talk to him about it. She feels bad. That would be a hard thing to talk about to somebody. So I could give her grace on that. But again, it's a weird statement to make because I know too much. I don't want to talk to him because I know too much. But like I said, she could be referencing CSAM, even though it's already out on the news, all of that. I saw that some people came in. Toxic and Hazel. Good afternoon and happy New Year's Eve.
You know.
No, I don't want to tell them what you guys have told me. I don't want to share any. It's so difficult because I've known them for just as long as I've known Steph, and they feel like absolute shit right now. I know that they kind of got into a fight because Chris started, are you sure we know our son? Are you sure we know our son? I don't think we know him at all. The mom was defending him, but now with everything, with the evidence on the phone coming out, they know. They know he's a piece of shit.
We've talked to his dad, and his dad knows as much as you know.
She was talking about his dad, so I apologize for that. I thought she meant Tyler. Roxanne said again, Jen's phrasing makes her so sus. Right. Thank you, Rachel, for clarifying that. Yeah, and she knows when she talks to Tyler, I apologize for thinking that it was Tyler, but right, she knows that he's going to want facts and explanations, and I was thinking, maybe she's not ready for that at the moment, ready to go through that. Abellis, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. That is so supportive of you and so sweet. Thank you so much. You are so sweet. You are just the sweetest. You are sweet as peach pie. Thank you so much. If y'all were gifted a membership from Abellis, please tell her thank you, and I'll play her clip real quick. Thank you, sweet Abellis. You are so sweet. You are so sweet. Thank you. I saw this big comment. Miss Kimmy said Tyler wanted custody of Maddie. Jen's parents had the money for lawyers, so Jen ought to be scared talking to Tyler. He wanted her, and she was just a money grab to Jen. Yeah. I wish that Tyler had custody. I think none of this would have happened, but, yeah. I'm sorry, Toxic. That was so nice of you, Abellis. Thank you. Peach pie is indeed sweet, Shabuggies.
He knows his son's a rapist. He knows his son's a murderer. He's talked to us. He's been very open with wanting to help in any way he can, whether that's technological, whether that's verbal.
Yeah, he even had, I was with him when he turned in his knife to you guys. He remembered he had a knife on him and gave it to you guys. I thought that was.
Have you talked to Chris about Stefan needing a lawyer?
Yeah. I think when you guys showed me the photos.
So we showed you photos of Stefan raping. And
No.
the first thought you had was to ask his father if he should get a lawyer?
No.
Yes. Yes. That's a problem for me. Unless you already knew about the pictures and you condoned or thought it was okay for what was going on. You understood why, because they had both maybe, like I've stated before, it's not, I don't agree with it, but let me just run this scenario. It's a speculation or a possibility that Stefan, being so manipulative as he was, he had convinced Maddie that they were in love with each other and that they were going to get married. And Madeline, being a child and easily swayed by this sick monster, thought that that was her boyfriend and they were going to get married and they loved each other. So they both tell Jen, or she finds out, or whatever happens, and they convince Jen that they're in a relationship, and as soon as they are old enough, Maddie's old enough, they're going to get married, and they love each other. And they're doing these things anyway. And hey, while we're doing these things anyway, we can make money off of it. And that's what they're doing. Okay. And then this shit happens and she gets hit with pictures of things she already knew about. So therefore she's like, I got to get Stefan a lawyer. And that's why she's saying it with Steven too. I got to get Stefan a lawyer because I know they're going to find these pictures, or in the latter part, they already have found these pictures. But I know what they said to me. I know that it was okay because they loved each other. Not that it is okay. I'm saying this is what Jen is thinking. It's not okay. She should have said, what? Excuse me, what the hell did you just say? No, this mug is getting out of my house. We're going to the police station and then we're going to get some counseling, because I don't care what you think, you're a child. This is not acceptable. But I'm just saying that's why I think she wanted to get Stefan a lawyer, because she already knew about the CSAM, and for whatever reason, she thought it was okay. Oh, Janet, okay, I won't do the train. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships, though. That was super sweet of you. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. If you guys were gifted a membership by Janet, please tell her thank you. That was so supportive. Thank you so much. Toxic said, I would agree, but I think Jen made it difficult for Bio Dad to see her too. Yeah, I think she did. Looks to me like she knew about the abuse, but didn't think he would unalive her. That's why the lawyer, as awful as that is, because most mothers would not be okay with any of it. Right, exactly. But I think, listening to her, continuing to go through this interview, she definitely knew about the homicide as well. That's what I'm thinking.
I saw a picture. I didn't see the rape. I didn't know she was getting raped until yesterday. I saw the picture.
Okay, I believe that statement too. Maybe she didn't know that they were sexually active. Like maybe she just thought they were taking pictures and messing around. I don't know. I don't know how you would think that they were just messing around and you condone that, but didn't condone them actually having sex. Okay. And then you take into account she's keeping track of the periods and all the other things. I don't see that, but I could say maybe she didn't. Because she specifically says, I didn't know about the rape until yesterday. And she says it with firmness in her voice. So maybe she didn't. But she knew about, notice how she says the rape, not the pictures, not the abuse. I didn't know about the abuse. I didn't know about the pictures. I didn't know what he was doing. She specifically says rape. So maybe she didn't know about the rape, but she knew about the other things. But I don't know how you would think this man would be okay with doing all that, but not having sex. I mean, I don't get that, but okay, maybe. Yeah. Inspector BS is sniffing out the BS. Right? I'm with you about this. I'm
Picture of the oral sex happening. And I knew that was true right
That's evidence. That's for real. That's fucking happening. But I kept thinking, they're going. I don't know why I can't tell you why my brain kept thinking, no, he didn't kill her. Not that he didn't kill her, but she's still missing. She's still out there. She was taken. Yes, he's done this to her.
I could think that maybe she thought that he didn't commit the homicide because she's thinking that they love each other and he loves her so very much that maybe she thought he didn't commit the homicide. But I cannot explain how she knows some of the things she knows.
And that's not okay.
The pregnancy test, CC, yep.
But I swore she was still, I felt in my body she was still alive. She was still out there. I told Chris to get a lawyer because I felt like you guys were chasing the wrong person. But you weren't. You're not.
We showed you a picture. The picture you saw, she was giving a blowjob to a grown-ass man. And you told his dad to get him a lawyer. Missing, right? Now you, but then you just thought she was missing. And we were showing you our investigative lead being raped. A blowjob is rape. Not consensual. Whether she wants to do it or not, that is not consensual.
So again, going back to that, maybe Stephen convinced her that she wanted to do it or whatever. But I can't, like New York City Boomer and Cece said, what about the pregnancy test? We know that she wasn't sexually active. So why did she have those pregnancy tests? Again, if she didn't know about them being sexually active. Jen didn't help Tyler see Maddie. She could have afforded to help for sure. I hope charges come for her loans. Yeah, there's some suspicious things going on. And then real quickly, Darlene said, as also the comment about not being able to let Maddie sleep in her bed because it's too risky. Can someone please explain that? Good question. I haven't been able to explain that one yet, unless she was involved. That's the only thing I can come up with for that. In a sense, I can believe she didn't want to believe that he would commit homicide on her daughter. I can see that too. I can think that maybe she didn't want to believe that he would do that. And maybe she didn't believe it until he told her he did. And then she helped him try to cover it up somehow. Sue Joy says, bottom line, this woman whose daughter is no longer here and been abused for a year and can conduct herself in this manner. Sorry, she knew. Now, you don't have to be sorry. I'm with you guys. I believe that she knew. We're just trying to run the scenario of can we make it work to where she didn't know. Darlene says she definitely saw the closeness between Maddie and Stearns. That's why the Woody Allen comment, she thought they were in love. I think so. Lube in Stephen's room. I can go on and on, right, Cece? Yeah. He calls her out, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it, too, because I think she knew and helped. But we're running the scenario that she didn't. I think those tests, along with Jen's tracking her period, will bring her down. I wonder if Jen's on birth control. Good question. Probably not, because she's not been sexually active. But again, it doesn't make sense that you're not sexually active and you have pregnancy tests. Unless, I mean, I don't know how long a pregnancy test lasts. Like, if they expire within 6 months or a year and they're still under there, then she might get in trouble for that. But if they don't, she could say, and they could possibly be from when she was sexually active. So that would be a question I would ask.
And you prioritized him again. You prioritized him by offering him or telling his dad to get him a lawyer. Not what the fuck did he do? Not, hey, we need to figure out what happened. No, let's protect Stephen.
I was in shock.
No, it's not shock. That is your natural instinct to protect Stephen. Okay? And if that's naturally how you react, that's fine. But that goes into what I've been telling you this whole conversation is I don't believe a lot of the things you're saying, and I don't believe a lot of the things you say you weren't aware of. And that is because you've now shown me twice that your first reaction, no matter what you were told or shown, missing and we're seizing the cell phone, or we're showing you pictures of her giving him a blowjob, your first reaction is to protect Stephen. So now, ordered by Stephen, you're aware of this. You were shown pictures of this. You were shown pictures of her body in his car with a seatbelt on, right? We have played it out for you. Now you're in a stage where he's in jail, you know she's passed away, and now you can feel emotion, right? Until that point, when you were shown that she was deceased, your continued first reaction is to protect this guy. You just said, I only saw a picture of him, whatever your verbiage was, I say blowjob, of his penis in her mouth, and your first reaction was, fuck. Oh my, victimized? No. She's being abused? No. It's Stefan needs a lawyer.
And I can't get past that if she didn't know about it. Darlene said maybe he told her it was an accident and she didn't want to lose both of them. I think that's exactly right. I think that's exactly what happened. Stefan told her it was an accident. She didn't want to lose both of them, so she helped him cover it up. I question Ty's judgment. He stole explosives in the military and went to prison. I think he was more concerned about his marriage, being he cheated on his fiance. I think that I question his judgment too, but I could chop it up to just being young and dumb and full of, you know what I mean? Toxic said, but I still can't swallow. If she were abused while young, she wouldn't put two and two together in regards to behavior between her daughter and her so-called boyfriend. There had to be signs. Like he says in this interview, two grown adults cannot hide an affair. There had to be something that was set out of line, some kind of thing that Stefan did towards Maddie. There's no, I don't buy that she didn't know. There had to be some kind of signs. And that takes me back to where she says, just kidding, just kidding. Like, did he say out of line remarks and then follow it up with just kidding, just kidding? And is that why she says that? Toxic said Tyler's not responsible, so I personally don't think he needs to have fingers pointed at him. I agree with that. He's not responsible for this, and he wasn't involved. So we're accurate. You're 100% right about that. Roxanne said, I'll not forget how Jen had no reaction to seeing the BJ picture. I would have been crying, livid, and asking for a few minutes alone with him in that room while I had a big stick. Yeah, they would have had to hit me with the rubber bullets, tase me. I don't know. I would have called a charge for sure. Miss Kimmy said, okay, so she just checked a box. Yes, they expire in about roughly 4 to 5 years. So we could explain the pregnancy test by saying maybe they were for her and she had just not got rid of them. But it would depend on the expiration date, right? Because what if they were brand new? Like if they were brand new and expired in 4 to 5 years, that means she just bought them. And did she just buy them and find out and use one and told Stefan something that Saturday night? And is that why he was freaking out that Saturday night at his dad's house and then coming Sunday to try to fix the problem? You know what I mean?
Who the fuck cares if we think he killed her?
I'm with him.
I don't know why I said that.
But that's the problem. You don't know why. So the reaction in your mind is you are continuously protecting this guy. So why do I sit here and believe that you don't? Because right now, you know Stefan killed her. You know Stefan's been raping her. You know without her body, can he be charged with murder?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you don't know what we can do. Do I think we can charge him with murder? It's not up to me. Should he be charged with murder? Yes.
Please.
Does your role in her life lead this to happen? I'll be honest. Yes. Since she was a child, since her victimization started, it occurred under your roof, and you acted like it didn't exist. And knowing the victimization, knowing how ongoing it is, knowing that you saw a picture of it, not just us telling you, not me and him saying, hey, listen, he's being, I think they had a bad relationship. They showed you a fucking picture of it. And you still protected him.
Yep.
So how am I supposed to not think that the thought process in your mind is until she's found, Stefan can't be charged with murder? Because we both now know that you don't want him to be charged with murder because you want him to have a lawyer.
No, I don't.
That was the blowjob.
That was
then.
He
can't be charged with murder.
That was then. Everything that you guys have shown me since then and have showed me that he's
so we had to show you a picture of her dead in the car for you to finally not take his side? Enough? Do you not see where I'm coming from? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick here.
No,
but it makes absolutely no sense that your name is Stefan.
I don't know.
Where does your mind go? Stefan.
And she can't explain that. She can't explain why she cares for Stefan more. I mean, in my opinion, she cares for Stefan more than she did Maddie. And it's always been about Stefan. I think it was also a problem that Maddie was starting to like boys, a threat to Stefan. Yep. This case is so sad. Hard to watch her be so dumb. I have 3 daughters and I would have known something was going on. I think I would have too, right? I think I would have too. Darlene said, yes, Jen, you knew, honey. Sorry, but you did. I mean, really, that I can't make it make sense any other way, right? Not this part. Now the murder, I don't know. We're gonna try it, but I can't.
There should have been no doubt in your mind when they showed you that picture of what he was doing to you, that you had any care in the world other than I want that motherfucker to die. Whether you believe in the death penalty or not, he protected him. So now we're talking about her disappearance and where her body is. Why do I believe that you're still not protecting him? Because you say so? Because you can't explain why you protect him. You can't explain what is inside of you that makes you protect Stefan. And you may never be able to explain it. But eventually we're going to have to figure it out because you haven't convinced me that you're still not protecting Stefan. I got all these people out here searching. I haven't seen my own kid in days because I'm looking. You truthfully believe that I can't go home and see my kid is because you're protecting. I can't. You're people sitting in the woods just waiting for me to tell them where to go, but I can't because I think you're in trouble.
I don't care about him. I want him to go to jail. I want the worst thing possible to happen to him in jail. I know what happens to predators in jail. Like, I'm ready for that. Like, please. I don't give a fuck about him. I'm not protecting him.
But you knew he was a predator when you got shown the picture. And then you text his dad that he needs a lawyer. You hope that he invoked, was the words I was told.
What?
You hope that he didn't talk to us. He needs a lawyer.
No.
All over.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And they wouldn't say that she said, I hope he invokes. They wouldn't accuse her of that if they didn't have pretty much accurate evidence or, evidence pretty much that she said that. And so I can't say that she didn't know. Like, she absolutely knew. And that's why she was so adamant about getting him a lawyer. Now, I do believe she was manipulated by him into believing that they were in a relationship. And for whatever reason, she went along with it. She's crying for herself at the moment. She's looking at time herself. And again, no emotion for Maddie. Right? Toxic. Rachel said, could she really be that oblivious to her surroundings? I don't think so. This was years of abuse. Right. That's where I'm at with it. At the very least, Jen knew about the abuse. She didn't even deny it just now. Right. Exactly. Like, she is backpedaling. She does. She is protecting him. If I saw that picture, I would be asking, where's the bastard? Let me in the room with him so I can find out what the hell he did with my child. Right. And that's the reaction all of us have. And that's why it's so hard to run that scenario, that she didn't know about that.
For a picture, you didn't care. You didn't care then. Oh, whether sex isn't important to you, that wasn't anything close.
I knew what I saw was
He was
terrible.
a predator right then and there. That's the day you found out he was a predator.
Yeah.
Yes. And after you found out he was a predator, did you not say he needed a lawyer? So why today, Friday at almost 3 o'clock, 5 days into the disappearance and murder, do I believe you that you're not telling me where he went, or that he didn't disclose to you where she was, or what caused this to happen? Is listen, I know I've been doing whatever, or listen, this fucking happened. How do I believe that didn't happen when everything you've shown me is protect Stefan? Now, once if you show priority in this conversation, in this investigation, you're coming here looking for her, you reported her missing. Trouble for not doing that. But outside of you reporting her missing, and I may be wrong, I haven't been involved in all aspects of it, but you have not shown me one bit that you prioritize her over him. And that sucks. Not because we're working our asses off for your family, not because we have people out there.
Now, could she be guilty of just prioritizing him over Maddie? Absolutely. Absolutely. Could she be guilty of thinking that they were in a relationship and mistakenly thinking that it was acceptable or was going to happen regardless? Absolutely. Although I would have got the motherfucker out of my house and behind bars as soon as possible. But I could see it with the medication, her not wanting to be alone, all of those things. I can't, however, say that she didn't know about the homicide with the things she says. Boomer real quick said, didn't she notice that Maddie showed improvement while he was out of the home? Absolutely. Everybody else did, right? Everybody else, the teachers, the counselor, the roommates, everybody else did.
Asses off for your family, but because I feel like all I care about is your care is to make sure Stefan doesn't get held fucking accountable.
Well, I don't care anymore.
Anymore. Because we're being assholes, because I'm not being nice.
No.
Yeah.
But up until Thursday, it was okay that she gave him a blowjob. No big deal. Get a lawyer.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't okay. I saw it and I was in shock. And I don't know why my first reaction was.
But you're in shock, but your first reaction is to call an attorney. You're not in shock. You called an attorney because you knew it was coming. You thought that you could erase it. And then when they hit you with the images and you knew that you weren't able to erase it, then it becomes, okay, now I've got to get a lawyer. That's not shock. That's thought. You had a cognitive, coherent thought process, and that's what you did. In reaction to the pictures that you were shown, you said, I've got to get him a lawyer, not where is this mother trucker at so I can kill him now. You know what I mean?
Was to tell him to get a lawyer, but I saw that and I was in shock and I was just like, I don't know what to believe.
Abellis, from what I understand, no, I had that wrong. I don't think it was these two cops. I think it was the detective who accidentally leaked the photo of Madeline on Instagram. And I don't think he was taken off the case. I think he just had to pay a $250 fine, from what I understand. He was her babysitter so she could sleep. Hidden with the facts. I live in Massachusetts. Rachel said, I also think Jim was jealous when Maddie was happy at grandma's, but she wasn't. Yep. Oh, cray for Cranyak. Thank you for being here. Everybody may have noticed it, but when you don't care and completely oblivious to your daughter and your med's a priority, I can see her not noticing. Okay, so I'm glad you're here because we're running scenarios about did Jen not know? So I appreciate you sharing that. We're going to continue going and try to see if we can make it make sense that she didn't know about the murder with some of the things that she says. Sorry, hold on. Okay.
It's easy to believe it now. We showed you pictures of it. You can't deny it anymore. The sex was okay. The murder's not. At least that makes sense.
No, that's okay.
I want to know what it is. And not because I think you're a bad parent, not because I think you're a bad parent. Dead or alive, she's missing. Her body is out there. Her body needs to be recovered so she can have proper burial, a proper funeral. She needs to be laid to rest. Your family needs to be able to mourn her. And we need that information. That is life. That is not life of the law. That's not life of the sheriff's office. That is common decency. That is what she deserves. That is what you deserve. That is what your family deserves. But the longer that happens, the longer it takes us to find her, the less likely that's going to be for you guys. And I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I truly am. But deep down, you haven't shown me that I am.
I don't know what I need to show you.
Prioritize her over Stephen. Stefan, think of places he would have dumped her body. Think of places he went, things you talked about, things you've discussed, whether it's this week, last week. Don't put it in your mind that he's been victimizing you, or don't put in your mind that I'm being a dick. What can I think about to find out where Stefan put her?
It's redacted.
You know more about where he goes, what he's doing, or what he would do than you want to realize. That's natural, not because I'm telling you, but because that's natural. I have best friends. I know more about them than I think I know about them. I just need to sit down and think about it. So I need you to sit down and think about it. Whether you need a minute, we're not in this room, whether you want to do it with us in this room, we need to leave here with an idea of where we can go look for. That is one thing we can agree on.
I've sent you the list of the stores that he may have stopped at, didn't stop at. The only outdoorsy places I can think of that we've ever gone to that he would know about would be Shingle Creek or Kissimmee Trail. I don't know if he knows where Lake Toho is, but that could be another option.
All right, now we're going to get into where she starts how I can't make it make sense that she didn't know about the homicide. New York City Boomer, I agree. Rose Thorne, thank you for being here. I don't know if I said hey to you already or not, but thank you for being here. Rose Thorne said, why does Jen protect Stephen over everything? What info is missing? Right. I mean, I have to assume that she cares more about Stephen than she does Maddie, but that's just my speculation. I mean, it could be the medicine. It could be a lot of factors. Toxic said, I think she doesn't know where he dumped her. I can't see him telling her. Thinking without the body, they only have circumstantial evidence. I can agree with that. I can agree with that for sure. I can't, the thing that I'm coming up with so far, the one thing I can't explain, and I'll go over it again because more people have come in and gone out. But when we get to the part, the only thing I cannot explain away of how she knew is that Maddie was in her trunk. Okay, wait a minute. Darla said, okay, what about the creek? If Madeline was found by the creek, she still would be guilty in everyone's minds. Like, I don't understand. I'm sorry. If it's, sometimes I don't pick up on the most obvious things. But what do you mean? Like, by her saying, what if her body's by the creek, or what if her body's here or there, that if she was found there, she would still be guilty in everyone's mind? Like if she told if she suggested a place she was and then Maddie was found there, she would be guilty in everyone's minds. But I mean, she's guilty in everyone's minds already.
Because you think it's a wooded area, because it's a place you guys have talked about together.
Because it's a wooded area with a lake, with gators. Like, we haven't discussed anything. This topic, I never asked him if he direct.
It's odd to me that she would say we haven't discussed anything, because that makes me think that she did discuss something with him, and I think that's why she knows the information that she knows. Darla said yes, she mentioned multiple places. Yeah, I don't think that she knew where he dumped her, but I think she knew. I think they had discussed some things, because right here, it's like when she's like finds out that Maddie wasn't at school, and she's telling everybody, what do you mean we dropped her off at the school, we are up the street from the school, and then she interchanges it with he dropped her off, I dropped her off, we dropped her off up the street from the school. But you're telling this information to the principal and every teacher and her best friend and all the people and everybody that you come across that don't necessarily need to know that information. Like, I would think that if you found out your child was missing from school, like, I wouldn't think, what do you mean we dropped her off from up the street from the school? I would think, oh my God, you dropped her off up the street from the school. We need to go there. We need to check the cameras. We need to see if there's something there or something. Like, it wouldn't be important information for me to make sure that everybody knew that he or I dropped her up the street from the school. It would just be, what do you mean she didn't make it to the school? I got to figure out where she's at. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean you haven't saw her? You haven't seen her at all today. Like, it wouldn't be pertinent for me to tell everybody that. You know what I mean?
Thought he could have. I always assumed the best in him. But I didn't ask him directly. I didn't even suspect that until you guys showed me that picture upstairs. We're here.
Mayla's mom said, I think she's guilty anyway. This interview blows my mind, talking about the body, gators, dumping, etc. I couldn't use those words about my child. I couldn't either. Most people can't. I could explain it by saying it depends on the medication she's on. Maybe she's so heavily medicated, like she has been from what it seems like for a long time, that she's just not showing any emotion like she's supposed to, because those mood stabilizers, especially if you're on a high dose, can make you not reactionary to anything at all. So I could explain it away. However, I don't think that's the reason. I think it was a sense of apathy, but I could say maybe she's just not having the right reaction because of her meds. Hey, Joanne. Thank you for being here real quick. Joanne says she knew, hence the Woody Allen comment of her being afraid he would run off with Maddie and leave her. Yeah, I think it's something along those lines. I think. Stockholm Syndrome, maybe, says Tanya. Yep. She cries when she's attacked, says Sue Joy. Yep. But yeah, all those little comments like that, I think so. And I think that's what it all boiled down to. She wanted Stefan and Maddie in her life, and she was scared that Stefan was going to leave. So she did whatever she had to do to keep Stefan there, even at the expense of Maddie. Oh, Mayla's mom said, but she's been on those meds for a long time. She ought to be somewhat normal by now. Yeah, but if her normal is no emotion, no feeling, just numb, and then you got to think like maybe she increased her dose, you know what I mean, like took way more than she was supposed to try to help deal with the situation, because we know they took, I mean, anybody would take more of their medication than normal trying to deal with a situation like this. And Stefan admits to being high because he took all the medication, so I assume she did too. So that would be my thought on that. Hey, Maggie May. Sorry, last one, guys, and we'll get back into it. Maggie May said, I still don't get the whole I can't risk sleeping with Maddie any longer. I don't either, and I can't explain that one away either. And to be clear, I think Jen knew about everything. I'm just trying to see if we can make it make sense that she didn't know about the CSAM or the homicide. So far, I can't make it make sense that she didn't know about the CSAM. Because it just, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. But I maybe could say it's possible she didn't consider in the medication, so I'll go with a possible on that one. The homicide, I can't make it make sense. Hey, Cara, thank you for being here.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of, if I name places, it's going to be wooded areas that I can think of, but he hasn't told me anything. Like, he has not told me, or we haven't discussed.
So him going to 192 that day, all you know is that he went to 192.
He said he wanted to visit House Card Rules. That was one of, he named 3 stores, and that's one store I can remember him listing on that list.
House Card Rules?
Yeah, I don't have my phone.
We'll get your phone a little bit. House Card Rules.
Hiding a crime usually involves woods or water, sometimes deserts or patios. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, her suggesting places, I don't think is weird.
What kind of store is that?
I don't know if that's like a video game or card game or board top game store.
But that's on 192.
Close to one, I think.
Okay.
I think close to 182 somewhere.
And he said he wanted to go to 3 stores.
Yeah. But he did.
Kelly, thank you for being here. Kelly said, wasn't it Jen who broke up with Stefan? So it doesn't make sense about using Maddie to keep him. So let's go with, okay, could we say that maybe she found out they were messing around? Like, maybe that's literally the first time she found out, and she told Stefan to leave, that wasn't acceptable and she couldn't deal with it. But then not being with Stefan made her upset, and so she called him back. Or she found out Maddie was with child, so she called him back. But maybe she found out about the CSAM stuff and was like, we're not going to do this. You need to leave. Like, you got until December to leave. So maybe that's the explanation for that. Hey, Philippa. I'm just going to call you Serenity. Thank you for being here.
Tell me, like, I just don't remember which one.
Are there woods in that area? Are you familiar with 192?
No, not where these stores are. I have no idea.
Other than you came up with wooded areas that you know of.
Yeah.
You came up with wooded areas that you think he could double body in.
Because I've been there with him, yeah.
I need to know wooded areas where he travels. Right? You're saying we've been there, so she could be there. So that tells me she's not there. It tells me it's a waste of search. Okay. Because when I put 90 plus people there, that's all day. Right? We got to coordinate that. We got to put them there. So we need fruitful searches.
Yeah.
So I need likely places that you think, and I need places you think based off of conversations with him, not because you can picture in your mind that there's trees there.
There's no conversation I can think of. named interest in being anywhere near woods or it being along his way.
Said he got a flat tire. Tell me about the flat tire you got.
So he said he got a flat tire. I'm not sure when he got a flat tire, but he said he got a flat tire and then came directly home, and he got home around 2:40. So flat tire, he said he was driving down 192 and it just popped and shredded and fell apart. And he pulled over into a plaza and changed the tire for the first time in a very long time, and said he hurt himself doing it. The frame of the car, something came down on his finger.
All his lies, I don't care, but I want to know what you question him about. Why was he there? What was he doing? There's no way you're the most trusting woman in the world. You just don't ask clarifying questions. I know no relationship I've ever been in is that trusting. He just tells you he's gone at 3 a.m, getting a fucking Wawa, and you're like, I don't have a bet. Same thing.
That's another thing I can't get with. Like she's so trusting of him that he's out at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's got a flat tire and a donut on his car. He reset his phone, and Madeline's missing, and you think nothing of it. That's another thing I can't explain away. Toxic said they swept everything under the carpet for him every time he got in trouble. Oh, yeah, the parents, absolutely. Rachel said, agree, they created a man-child that couldn't support himself or take care of himself. I agree with that. To be fair, though, I don't want to attack anybody that's not necessarily involved. I want to know more about the news that Maddie did confide in friends whose parents brought it up with the school, and Jen Soto just blew it off. I want to know more about that, too. Kelly said, I'm not sure she knew about any of the CSAM stuff, but she definitely needs to be charged for having them sleep in a bed together. Yeah, neglect or something. Absolutely. Absolutely.
With this, it's like, oh, I got a flat tire, was here. Why is he at these places? Do you not question him? Why were you on 192? Why did you dip out at 3 a.m. with my car?
I didn't know he
This
did that.
is 2 times he went to 192. Went to 192 the day she disappeared, right? He's roaming, looking for her south of where she went missing, because supposedly she went missing. And 192 is south of where that is.
And
not very likely that that's the route she went on foot or abducted, and that him driving around is somehow going to locate her.
And he did tell. I did question that. I was like, when I asked him where he's searching, he said 182. I said, why? That's nowhere where she would be. And he didn't give me a clear answer, and I don't know why I didn't push it. I just thought he was being stupid and oblivious, because I don't see him as the smart man. Like, I don't. I let him.
See, that's another problem for me, because like if my child was missing, I wouldn't give a shit where you're searching. Just search anywhere, everywhere. Who knows where she could be? It takes, in a vehicle, how long does it take to get to the next state? You know what I mean? Like, I would go anywhere, block the whole entire state off, make sure that all the ports are closed and that you are at every single road that goes out of the state. Get there right now, immediately, make a phone call, something, block it all off, and let's start from the outside and work our way in. The whole fucking state. Like, stop the airplanes from flying. That would be me. So why? That was another thing. Like, I wouldn't give a shit where you're searching. Just search. I'll go ahead and keep playing this.
Let him do what he does.
Right there. I let him do what he does.
But I don't trust a lot of his. Is the word judgment? I'm not sure, but I just don't trust that he makes the smartest decisions sometimes. Like, he likes to act like the smartest man in the room, but I don't think he is.
Do what he does. Meaning?
I'm sorry?
You said, I let him do what he does.
Yeah.
So,
if he wants to just get up and go to the store, I'll ask where you're going, but I won't stop him. Just let him go on.
I let him do what he does. It's a weird statement, but she explains it away with some conviction, so I could maybe believe it. Like, she doesn't. Again, if we take into consideration the mood stabilizers and how they made her numb to everything, maybe she was just oblivious and didn't have a reaction to it like normal people would. Like, maybe. Cray says, so since, let's say, kindergarten, Jen was able to drop off and pick up Maddie without her disappearing, then the one time Steppen drops her off, she goes missing, and Jen believes every word Steppen says. Right, that's another problem I have. Linda says, was Stepan thinking about running off with Maddie? Was Stepan thinking about running off with Maddie? Did Jen see the text message about parents calling on Maddie's phone and get mad with both Stepan and Maddie? Possibility. Possibility.
Go on his way. Just let him do what he wants to do.
What do you think happened? Monday to now. You know she's deceased. We showed you pictures that she's deceased. We know that she was probably deceased Sunday and Monday. We didn't see her Monday morning.
I still want to believe she's deceased. I know
Well,
I know you showed me pictures, but
for
like,
the purpose of this conversation, I need you to believe it because I need you to figure it out. I need you to tell me what you think happened to her.
I think he killed her that night.
How?
I don't know. Could it probably be possible that he drugged her? Could he have choked her? I just don't know how you kill someone and don't leave a mess or don't leave evidence, or I mean, was there a mess? Was there evidence? I haven't gone upstairs. I don't know what that.
Okay.
What
Issue number one. I could go with, okay, you think that she, number one, the drugging thing. How do you know that he supposedly drugged her? Why would that come up? Unless you knew about the CSAM stuff and that he drugged her to do that. Okay. Maybe that's why she says that. Okay. Let's say that that's why she says that, because she knew she was being drugged at some point. And so she just would say that because it was a normal occurrence in the household. Then you say he choked her. Okay, I could say that maybe you thought he choked her because the dogs didn't bark. You didn't hear any screaming, commotion, any loud noises coming from the room. So then if you're going to say, how would you commit homicide without the dogs barking, there being a lot of commotion in the room and making a lot of noise? Okay, well, maybe he choked her, because that is, if you're writing a novel, that's something you could say. But you say you think he choked her because there was no mess upstairs, and then say, I don't know if there was a mess upstairs. Was there a mess upstairs? How do you explain that? I can't explain that, because you're saying that you think he choked her because there was no mess, and then you follow that with, but I don't know if there was a mess. I didn't go upstairs. Was there a mess? I can't explain that. We'll keep going.
But you guys, I barely went into the house today, so I don't know what.
I need to know what you think happened.
I think he killed her.
How? You mentioned drugged her. You mentioned other things. Explain your reasoning behind those assumptions, and we'll move forward day by day.
So he had access to benzos and I think Lunesta.
What are those? I'm not familiar with that.
Benzodiazepines are anxiety medications which relax you and can make you sleepy.
Okay.
And Lunesta, I think, is a sleeping medication, like for insomnia. So I don't know if it's possible he gave her something and she was drugged.
So Maggie May says, and yet Jen Soto's did not ever go back upstairs. Right. Kelly said she knew he gave Maddie her regular sleeping meds at times. Right. And that could explain, I mean, yeah, let's say that that's how she knew that he could have possibly drugged her. But I don't know why you would say drugged her if he was just giving her her regular sleeping meds. Like, that would just make me think he gave her medication, or even maybe too much of her medication. The phrase would be, maybe he gave her too much of her medication and choked her. But let me give you that. Okay, let's go with that. She's referring to him giving her medication. He choked her because there was no sound. How do we explain that the reason you think he choked her is because there was no mess upstairs, but yet she says she didn't go upstairs? She says she wanted to believe the best in him, even though he lied to his parents. He didn't lie to her. After cops confront her, she calls him a master manipulator. Always self-preservation for Jen. Yep. Okay. I don't know if you can post links, Roseanne, but I will put links. Thank you. And this is a great conversation. Please continue to conversate about, like, if you feel like she might not have known. Help me understand those things that I just said.
Drugged in those photos that you showed me where you're saying she's dead. Maybe she was drugged. But if she is dead and it was done upstairs, I could just only imagine that he choked her. I don't know how else you would kill someone and not leave a mess.
How do you think he got her out?
But she doesn't know there's not a mess because she's assuming because she never went up there. Mima said, well, this is a great video. This is on my page if you want to watch it. It's got a picture of like her sitting on the couch and stuff. You can watch the whole thing without me talking over it.
I have no idea because roommates come in and out of the house at any given point in the morning and we don't know their schedules. They can come in at any time. You guys showed me a picture, I think, of him or her in the car at 7:30 in the morning. My roommate left the house. She's the one who leaves the earliest. She left at 7:45. So like, what if he had waited a little longer? She would have caught him with carrying a body out of the house. How did he do that without being caught or seen? That's what I don't understand because like,
let's say that, that's why he got up and did the whole McDonald's story and said he was leaving so early to take her to McDonald's. And he was doing that so he wouldn't get seen taking a body out. She might not have necessarily known about that. I can give her that.
did you guys check and see if any of my neighbors have Ring cameras? Any? Nothing?
I don't know what data we've gotten from them, but at this point, I need to know what you think happened to her. I don't need you to ask us what we found.
Okay.
What we found has happened. I need you to come up in your words.
See, I think right there she's digging for information to know what they found. So she knows what to say.
In your mind, what do you think happened that night into Monday? Because we do not know. I don't know if her murder occurred Sunday or Monday. All we know is that when you went to bed, they went to bed together, and she's no longer here. So I need to know what you think happened to her, how he got her out of the house, where he went, how he got her into the car, what is your thought on what happened.
I think she was killed Sunday night into Monday morning. I'm thinking he carried her out of the house. I don't know how he didn't get caught by any of my roommates or no one heard. You're saying he drove all around town.
Right here.
I'm not sure where he could have gone.
I think it is. Yeah.
And then him coming home and leaving and coming home and leaving, what do you think? Knowing that he killed her.
That's suspicious as fuck.
It is suspicious as fuck, but if you're writing a book, what do you write? Let's say this is a fiction novel, right? You're now aware that he killed her, so now you can piece together a story of what happened, right? You don't know the story because you're not him.
Me too,
He
Mima.
hasn't told you, so it's not real. So you're telling me what you think.
Yeah.
Right? We know he killed her. We know he drove out of there Monday morning. We know he discarded her backpack in the trash dumpster. We know he discarded her laptop and one shoe. Right? So all her property was discarded to look like she's gone. That way he doesn't have evidence with him. They leave. You've been told that they drove around Orange County, Osceola County, wherever it was. We've pieced.
Maggie said, so cool that Grisch listed you as one of the channels he follows on his latest live. Oh, really? I'll have to drop him in the description box. He's really cool. I got to email him. Oh my gosh. I just remembered that. I got to email him back. Thank you for saying that because I forgot I got to email him. Tanya said, it makes the most sense to me. Honestly, she says she was woken up early, if I remember correctly, and Maddie went missing early in the morning. Yeah. Hey, Brooklyn. Thank you for being here. Brooklyn says, looks like a therapist appointment. It does.
Piece that together throughout the week. All right. He's told you where, at least in his version of where he was and what he was doing. Right. But then you have all these suspicious times of when he's left and come back and he's gone here and gone there. So what do you think he was doing on all these suspicious times? He's roaming 192. What do you think? Knowing what you know now we can play You know she's dead. You know that we've given you information. What do you think, knowing what you know, he was doing at 192? He was doing here. He was doing here. He was doing in Northport. What do you think?
So him leaving early in the morning and driving around aimlessly somewhere. I feel like he stashed the body at that time. When he came back and then left again. But see, it's daytime. Like, how could you move a body or move something in daytime and not be seen? But like, I feel like he went back to check to make sure he did a good job or to move the body again. I don't know. But him leaving the house multiple times without his cell phone is sketchy as fuck. It's so suspicious.
Okay, so I could go with that. She's saying that because he's leaving the house multiple times without his cell phone, that she finds it sketchy. Let's see. Let's figure that out. So he left in the morning and he left when he went to go stash the body. I don't know. Because okay, I might have made sense, because if he left, we know he left without the cell phone in her car. So we could say that maybe that's how or why she thought he was going to visit the body wherever he dumped it, simply because he's leaving without the cell phone. And so where is he going that he don't want to be traced? Well, somewhere that he don't want to be traced, which would be to go see the body. Okay. So that would explain, but it's still not going to explain why she would think he would put her in the trunk of her car.
Which is an intentional act. It's not accidental, so that can play into what you think happened.
Hey, Mary Lou.
Phone
Yeah.
on the dresser.
It was intentional.
Mary Lou said to change sounded like she was getting ready to say changed, like changed her clothes, instead of saying instead of check to see if he did a good job. And I didn't pick that up. Thank you for sharing that, because I had not picked that up. Boomer said, why isn't she asking about the crock in her room versus the one in the garbage? That's a good question. It's possible that she didn't know that one was in her room. Roxanne said Stephen didn't even pretend to cover his movement other than the most light of stories. No bringing back fast food to the motel that one night he left in the middle of the night. Cover story, no effort. Exactly.
Her cell records and her cell data from her cell phone show it is not common for her to leave her phone at home. It is common for her to go to school with her. You know, a teenager leaves their phone at home. That's what they're attached to it.
She's left her phone multiple
Her
times.
cell data shows that normally it goes with her, so that's intentional. You know it's intentional because he left his too.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's an accident last Friday, this Monday was not an accident.
Yeah.
So you think that he dumped her when he was driving around? You think that when he left, he went to check her body? Okay.
Why would you go back out to 182 without your cell phone?
I don't disagree. So he goes out to 192. We think he may have checked where he dropped her or dumped her. He comes home. He tells you they're just roaming around aimlessly. Right?
Yeah.
So that's twice on 192.
So that all makes sense right now of how she maybe not have known.
One day, because he went to look at the House of Cards bullshit or whatever it is. Yeah. And then he went to do the roaming to look for her on this random highway that he never goes to.
Okay.
Sunflower, at the end, I'll look it up and tell you.
Okay. We go into the next day and the next day. Think of the suspicious things he's done. Tell me what you think he's doing.
Him grabbing my phone and trying to log into his emails, that seems kind of suspicious. What was he trying to see? What was he trying to do? The thing is when he had my cell phone, now that I think back to it, he had something wrapped around it, so the phone was under a blanket, and he was like this. I tried looking at the.
She did say he called her. She said that he called her, and it's on the murder indictment that he called her. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. Absolutely right.
Screen at one point, and I could see an email. But
And that was the cell phone we took from you today, or you gave us today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you guys tell me if this is true? Because I recall a family member telling me something, like my sister. Was the last thing searched on it Amber Alert?
Her cell phone has Amber Alert searches in it, but I looked through her cell phone last night. I do believe that she may have been clicking on links for Amber Alerts that came through. I don't think she was actually searching them.
Okay.
They could have just been links she clicked on.
Because I wasn't sure if that was him Googling on her phone about Amber Alerts or if that was her.
That we will never know. He is not obviously cooperating.
Can you guys explain what happened yesterday?
For that, I need you to continue going with.
Yeah. Where are we at?
Suspicious utilization of your phone.
Okay.
Y'all are so sweet. Y'all make this a great community. I'm glad that it's welcoming, though. You guys are what makes this channel great. Because I could talk to myself for hours, but you guys are what makes it great. Jen said, I tried looking at the screen. Why? She tried to go through, because she did go through Maddie's phone, because there was group messages with the best friend, and it showed pictures of Stefan, and then all of a sudden, right after Stefan got arrested, they were mysteriously missing, and we know she was going through Maddie's phone and doing things because the officers had to ask her to stop because they thought it was Maddie.
Phone. Him disappearing multiple times. Him disappearing to Northport. What the hell he went? That is suspicious as all fuck. Why did he go to a storage unit facility? What was he grabbing? What was he trying to dispose of? Or what was he trying to hide in the that to me is suspicious.
Do you put more weight on that than 192?
192, no, because 192 would be something happened in Northport. There'd be no reason he would
Do
take.
you understand what I was asking with that phrase? Putting weight on it? Like, do you feel like it's more suspicious what he was doing in Northport versus 192?
I don't know which one's.
Is it 8 a.m. where you're at? Well, Happy New Year, Maggie.
I don't know which one is more suspicious to me. They both. 192 seems to me like the easiest place he could have dumped her or like figured out where to put her. Unless she was in my trunk the whole time and he went to Northport.
Hey, guilty of crime. Hey, Jay, it's good to see you. That part right there, I can't make it make sense. Okay, I'm gonna play that back for you one more time. That's the one thing I cannot add to this. There's no reason she would have thought that Maddie would be in her trunk, and I'm gonna explain why. That's the one part I can't make it make sense. I'm gonna take it back about 48 seconds. Let's listen to that again. Listen very closely.
192, no, because 192 would be something happened in Northport. There'd be no reason he would take.
Do you understand what I was asking with that phrase? Putting weight on it? Like, do you feel like it's more suspicious what he was doing in Northport versus 192?
She did me, Mom.
I don't know which one's. I don't know which one is more suspicious to me. They both. 192 seems to me like the easiest place he could have dumped her or like figured out where to put her? Unless she was in my trunk the whole time and he went to Northport.
Okay. Now, let me explain this to you. If I'm putting myself in her shoes, okay? You're asking me what I think he did because you're telling me that he has committed homicide and she's no longer alive. And I have to replay all the information I have and make it and fit it together and make it make sense. And I'm telling you a story, okay? What I'm going to say, knowing that the police has shown me the picture of my daughter in the front seat and he's driving her around and making it look like she's asleep. I'm going to say that I'm going to think naturally that that's what he was doing that morning. And she was in the front seat of her car. Okay. Then he comes back. We conversate for a little bit and I have my blood appointment and I go outside to where his car is parked right beside mine, but I don't see Maddie in the front seat. So I would say, knowing what I know now, okay, where would Maddie have been at that time? Well, he would have had to hide the body because I didn't see her. So let's say he put her in the trunk, okay? Because I know also that he got the donut, and I'm going to assume that he got the donut going to dump the body, okay? So that could explain Maddie being in his truck, okay? And then I go to my blood appointment. I come back, we conversate all that. He leaves again. I go to pick Maddie up, and then he comes back with a flat tire or a donut on his car. I'm going to think that that's when he dumped her body, wherever he dumped it, okay? And now the body's not there. He's dumped the body, and there's no reason for me to think, where does it come into play that he put Maddie in her trunk? There's no reason for me to think she was ever in my trunk unless I already knew she was in my trunk. Because I would have, again, it's hard for me to think because there's music in the background. My husband's watching TV. If I'm playing that day, I'm going to say again that, okay, I'm asleep. He took her out in the morning. I know he drove her around again with her in the front seat looking like she's asleep. I didn't see her when I go outside. So therefore she's not in the front seat anymore. Maybe she's in the trunk. I go to my blood appointment. He gets the donut when he's dumping the body and he comes back and then we find out she's missing and all that and all these things happen. Why did she say he's going back to visit the body? Well, he's going to do something because he's not taking the phone. But that still does not tell me why she specifically says that Maddie is in her trunk. Because there's never a scenario for him to have put Maddie in her trunk. We know he was driving her car because he had the donut on the tire. But the donut would be from, I would think, using my criminal mind, that's when he dumped the body. So the body is no longer in the vehicle, on him, in the trunk or anything. He got the donut when he dumped the body. So why would I think that she had ever been in my trunk? Even if I think he's going out to go visit the crime scene for whatever reason because he's not taking his phone and he does that in my car, it still does not explain why she places Maddie in the trunk of her car. And we know that she was in the trunk of her car. And she says that just now. That's what I can't make sense in this scenario. Cara, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. That was super sweet of you. If you guys were gifted a membership from Cara, please tell her thank you. I'm going to play our clip. I want to ask you guys if you think that those of you that feel like Jen Soto might not have known, can you explain that to me? Thank you so much, Cara. That was super sweet and so supportive of you. Hey, Jeannie B. So I know that my comments were going. Can y'all explain that part to me? Why she places Madeline in the trunk of her car? Cara said, I think she's still trying to stick to the story that her and Shitstain came up with, and she doesn't want to say the wrong thing, which is why she has long sides and exasperated breaths. Absolutely. Yes. Hey, guilty of crime. Thank you for being here. Guilty of crime says hashtag arrest Jen Soto. And I'm with you. I mean, neglect something. I don't know. It's obvious she doesn't give a hoot. Happy New Year, Patty. Happy New Year. So those of you that think Jen might not have known, can we explain Madeline being in her trunk and why she says it at this point when she knows the dogs? She doesn't know the dogs hit on her trunk. They haven't told her that information, okay? So there's no reason for her to know that information. Oh, thank you, Rhodey. It's good to see you, Rhodey. Jamie, I'm so glad you were gifted a membership. That's awesome. Toxic's always talking in chat. I don't know why it doesn't gift her. So y'all let me know what you think about that. How can we explain Madeline being in Jen's trunk and Jen knowing that Madeline was in the trunk and suggesting that Madeline was in the trunk when there's no reason for her to even think that, if we're running out of scenario of how this could have happened and what he did that day, taking into consideration what she knows when she doesn't know that the dogs hit on her trunk.
The trunk of your car?
Yeah.
Didn't you drive your car at some point?
I
Did you
did.
guys sit in your car at some point?
I did. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have probably smelled something, but I didn't. So I'm just trying to think. I'm like, did he stash her body in Northport? No, I don't think so.
So even then, she says, I probably would have smelled something in the trunk of my car, but I didn't. So that would explain more. Then why did you even say it? Oh, guilty of crime. Thank you so much for the super chat. Guilty of crime says, arrest Jen Soto. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. For real, for real. Arrest this woman, this couch potato. I can't explain anything about this. Okay. She didn't know. Right. We were doing this because I had people, we were trying to figure out if we could make it make sense that she didn't know. That's the only thing I can't make sense. She specifically mentions Maddie being in the trunk, and there's no reason for her to have known that. Thank you, guilty of crime.
So he's probably hiding something or destroying something. So I guess 192 would probably be the most important right now.
Being
And I say
Right.
that because from what you guys have told me, he went directly from the hotel to Northport. I don't think he made any stops anywhere in Kissimmee or anything first and then went to Northport.
all we know is what we can piece together through accessible cameras and data. So his movements, his driving patterns, his actions, we can only 100% say what they are if they're on camera.
Okay.
So we can say he went to Northport because the car was in Northport, where he's.
Cece, thank you for the 99-cent super sticker. That was super sweet of you. Thank you for being so supportive. That was so sweet. I'm going to back that up a little bit because she explains why she says about the trunk comment, and it doesn't make sense, right? I'm going to run this for you again. Hold on a minute. Let's listen.
The trunk of your car?
Yeah.
Didn't you drive your car at some point? Did you guys sit in your car at some point?
I did. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have probably smelled something, but I didn't. So I'm just trying to think. I'm like, did he stash her body in Northport? No, I don't think so. He's probably hiding something or destroying something. So I guess 192 would probably be the most important right now.
Right here.
For being in your trunk is oddly specific.
The only reason I say that is because from what you guys have told me, he went directly from the hotel to Northport. I don't think he made any stops anywhere in Kissimmee or anything first and then went to Northport.
Okay. So she says the reason she says that is because he didn't go anywhere from the hotel but to Northport. But if I'm putting myself in her shoes and I don't know what happened and I take into account everything that I know, which is that Stefan drove her around tied to the dog leash in the front seat, and she because it appeared that she was sleeping to some people could tell she was deceased, and then we hang out that day and I go outside and I don't see her in the car, and then he comes back with a donut. Me using my criminal mind brain, I'm going to say, okay, I know for a fact he drove around with her in the front seat looking like she was asleep. And then I didn't see her in the front seat when I went to my blood appointment. So he put her somewhere, maybe in the trunk of his car. Okay. And then he leaves and he comes back with a donut. I'm going to say, obviously, he stashed her body when he got the donut on his car because he went into rough terrain. And that would make sense. That's where you would stash a body. Okay. That's when he got rid of the body, and then he drove my car because he had the donut. There's no reason for her to be in the trunk of the car. Why do you say she's in the trunk of your car? That's not even making sense if we go with the scenario that she didn't know. There's no reason for her to say that. It doesn't make sense because, again, why would he, if I'm thinking, obviously he got the donut when he stashed the body. At what point was she in the trunk of my car? Like, why would she even be in the trunk of the car? For what reason? It doesn't make sense. Even, I mean, and I want to know what that reason was when we go to court, because we know she was, because the dog sit on it. There is absolutely no way that she would know that Madeline was in the trunk unless she had already talked to Stefan about the situation and he had explained to her why she was in the trunk. Because even running with a criminal mind brain, you still can't make that make sense. Timelines are everything, Maggie. Absolutely. And thank you guys for being here and being supportive and open and welcoming and chat to people who think that Jen might still be innocent. I appreciate that. And if any of you are still here, please let me know if you can help me figure that part out.
We know is what we can piece together through
Yep, Rachel.
cameras and data. So his movements, his driving patterns, his actions, we can only 100% say what they are if they're on camera.
Okay.
So we can say he went to Northport because the car was in Northport, where he stopped, where he went in between. That cannot be factual from us if we don't have a camera. It can just be an assumption, which is why I want your assumption, because you know him, I don't.
Yeah. If I fell asleep at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, at the hotel, what was that, Monday night? Tuesday night?
One,
I was trying to think, like, could he have had time to stop somewhere, wherever he stashed her, and then took her to Northport?
Why would he do that? That doesn't even make sense using a criminal mind scenario. Why would he go to where he stashed her and take her to Northport? That doesn't make sense. Rose said, I don't think she would have talked to Stefan like ever. I can't see them having a conversation. I can if they know that Madeline is no longer here and they're trying to cover it up. Abella said the body wouldn't smell unless you released urine, etc. When you pass away, you release all of everything. Abellis, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. That was super sweet of you. How supportive. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'll play her a clip real quick. Thank you so much, Abellis. That was super sweet of you. I hope Toxic got one. Hey, Pam J. Thank you for being here. Super sweet. Awesome. Thank you for saying hey.
I think he had time.
Has he cleaned your car since he came back from Northport? Was he brought to a car wash? Has he detailed it? Paid somebody to come out?
No.
Because you, through your we called it a fiction novel.
I
You
love you
pieced
too,
together
Bells.
what you think happened based on a suspicious activity, and you ended with you think he put her in your trunk and brought her to Northport.
Yeah.
I know
Why?
I asked you to make assumptions, but now I want to know why.
Exactly.
Why is that how we finished this? What is in your mind leading you to believe that is the ending of the story?
Because 192 seems like a really busy strip, and I can't think of anywhere immediately, like other than going deep into St. Cloud, like passing St. Cloud, like going into Holapa or Harmony, that I could see some stashing the body somewhere around there. But
In his car when he got the donut, if you didn't know anything, which is what would make logical sense. Mima, you turn your gifted membership on, and you'll turn green if you get gifted. Amanda Page has been here for 1 month. Amanda Page says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, love. Thank you for listening to me run my yap for a month.
Northport, has so many wooded areas, and I feel like, I don't know, he would be familiar with both areas. I just don't know him to ever drive down 182 super far down, like into St. Cloud. But I've known him to drive around all around Northport. Um, but see, I don't want to say anything and like lead you guys down to Northport to do a search and nothing's there. I'm just
We're gonna
thinking,
go everywhere.
You're searching woods right now, or she's not?
okay.
Tanya said, what if Jen met him somewhere and he put the body in her trunk? If he did it at the complex, wouldn't there be video evidence, or was there no cameras? There was cameras at the video complex, and it's a possibility, yeah, as far as why Maddie was in the trunk of her car. I don't understand why, though, because he got the donut when he dumped her poor body. But it's still, I mean, that would mean Jen's involved, right? Like, how would you know? Why would you put her in the trunk of your car if you don't know anything, right? Like, that's the one thing I can't explain away. Needs some Z's. Thank you for being here. Says she is way too comfortable talking about stashing bodies, etc. Yeah, the way she says stash the body, dump the body, get rid of the body. I know that's how we talk about it, but we're not talking about our child, right? This is her child. Like, again, I mean, like Guilty of Crime said, hashtag arrest Jen Soto, because I cannot with her.
I just want to be like, I know you guys are like looking at me for the details, but I'm like, I don't want to send you on a wild goose chase.
You know him better than us. You gotta really think.
Cara, it was the sheriff that accidentally released her crime scene photo. It wasn't them. I was wrong about that. I apologize. We're going to watch a little bit more of this, and then I'll have to go because I've been on almost 3.5 hours. Ta-da. Somebody said, Abella said, when is your New Year? Do you have big plans? 10 hours to wait here. I don't have any big plans. We're just going to celebrate the New Year with the kids. Tomorrow, I'm doing a dual stream with Hio about some kind of crime stuff. We're going to have fun. Jeannie said she covered that whole time waiting for Maddie to pick up. She covered that whole time with waiting for Matt to. Oh my gosh. She covered that whole time with waiting for time to pick Maddie up. I want to know what she did from 11 till 2:30 on Monday. Supposedly she was sitting at home and she was talking to Stefan before he left at some point. Miss Kimmy said, didn't someone say when Stearns was changing the tire, there was another vehicle parked on the side of the road? I know people pulled up behind him to supposedly help him, and that's how he ended up getting caught. Are they absolutely certain Maddie was in the boot of Jen's car? Yes. The dogs hit on the trunk of Jen's car, and there's no way for her to have known that. Send them on a wild goose chase, Jen. How do you know if it is or not? Send them in every direction. that they could possibly find her. WTF, right? I will never understand sitting in your car for more than an hour for pickup. Ridiculous. I have way too many things to do. F that. I'm with you. I never waited, but some people do. They'll just sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours to wait for their kid to come out of school.
Where do you take her?
I'm going blank. I have no idea.
I feel like you're becoming emotional right now. I feel like you want to tell us.
No, if I knew what to tell you,
They're not buying her BS either. Just by the
I would tell
way.
you. If I had the truth, I would tell you. I don't know anything.
Right, Alana?
Jennifer, where do you think you took her?
Thank you for being here, Alana. Right, Pam J. Absolutely.
If I were him and I had to stash a body, but I would never do this. My mind would say to go to Lake Toho.
Hey, Edith.
There's a lot of woods there. There's a lot of gators. I don't want to think about it though. No, I know. I just don't want to think about her getting eaten by gators.
So somebody said in my comments, talking about gators, placing the body where with the gators. Somebody said, they were letting me know that it actually gators don't usually eat humans. Not big ones. Like sometimes they'll get small children and our pets and things, but not usually humans. But she just said, I don't want to think about her being eaten by gators. So she thinks during this interview that there's a possibility that if they put her out there or if Stephen put her out there, that she could get eaten by gators. And again, I go back to what they said. Do you think that because we don't have the body, we can't charge Stephen? Is that why you're trying to get him an attorney and you won't tell us where she's at because you think he's not going to get charged if we can't find the body? And was he going out there and got a donut, got a flat tire trying to put her out to where the gators were because they thought the gators would eat her and they wouldn't have a body and therefore couldn't charge him with the crime and it was just supposed to look like a kidnapping? I go back to that theory because that makes sense. She doesn't know that gators don't usually eat humans, right? She thinks that they do because she just referenced, I can't imagine her. I don't want to think about her being eaten by gators. I think that was the plan all along, like Guilty of Crime also does. Roxanne said that Jen Soto can imagine that at all in reference to her own daughter and say it in a normal voice, then realize and begin to cry. Bad actress. Right. Exactly.
I don't know where she is.
Like I told you, there's going to come to a point where we will. Like, Volusia County Sheriff's Office just found somebody the other day that's been missing for a long time. People get found. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not quick. I'm hoping this situation is today, tomorrow, Sunday, but we will find her. What you need to think about is when you find her, is there an opportunity or a chance that we are going to prove that you did not assist us to your full capability in this investigation? And if that is true, you need to think about the consequences of that. Consequences of hindering a murder investigation or a capital sexual battery investigation could be punishable up to probably the same charges, the same time in jail. I know you know that I don't believe what you're saying, and I know you know that I think you prioritize Stefan.
Because she absolutely does. And she could still get charged with that. Remember, she had the queen for a day immunity if she didn't lie and she told the truth and gave them information they needed to solve the case or charge Stefan in that interview. And she did not. She lied like a rug.
Prioritize jail. You see what I'm saying? Like, if we come back and prove that you sat in this room and misled us, that you didn't lead us in the right direction, or that you assisted, or you acknowledged, or you knew?
Abellis, they don't eat big humans, from what I understand. Like, they'll eat a toddler or a baby or a small dog or cat, but, small animals, small things, but not a whole entire body. From what I've heard, from what somebody said. Toxic said they will eat a whole body. I mean, I don't know. I've seen them get pretty big things, so I don't know. My dad always said this, and this is to Jen. If you want sympathy, Jen, look it up in the dictionary. It's between shit and syphilis, no doubt. I can't understand why the cops haven't charged her with anything. I couldn't either, but Guilty of Crime said that she's on the list for witnesses to testify basically against Stefan. So I think that's why they want her to testify. I hope you have a good New Year's too, Cara. That's I'll be doing the same thing too here in just a minute. I hope that you do have a good New Year's, and we will be on tomorrow. And I hope that y'all's New Year's Eve is great. I hope that you get all of your resolutions you're able to keep, and that 2025 is a great year for all of us. Cara, thank you. You didn't have to do that. Thank you for gifting 10 memberships. I really appreciate that. That is so sweet of you. Wow, thank you so much. I'll play our clip real quick. Thank you, Cara. My computer froze. Thank you, Cara. I really appreciate that. Sorry. I hope you have a good New Year's, honey.
Any warning from jail?
If I knew anything,
I wish
I swear I would tell you. He has mentioned.
I wish she was mourning from jail, to be honest. Hey, Megan. Oh, wow. That's cool. Megan said thank you to whoever gifted me a membership earlier. That's the third time I got one when I wasn't even in chat. That's awesome, and I'm super glad that you were gifted a membership. That's so awesome. Toxic can't get one for whatever reason. I'm going to ask them about what's going on with that. Thank you for saying thank you. Right, Meemaw? Put her with Boone.
We haven't discussed this. I had no suspicion of anything. He did not tell me any more details of where he went that day other than those traps that I had mentioned. I'm giving you my truth.
Any of the days that he came home after these suspicious outings, 192 trips, Northport trips, and everything else, did he change clothes? Did he come home and appear disheveled, sweaty, dirty?
I don't believe he showered. He didn't bring that many changes of clothes with him, so I know he's repeated his outfit over and over. It's possible he could have come home all sweaty and disheveled after the supposed changing the tire thing, but I wasn't home to see that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't see him come home dirty or sweaty or anything like that.
Did he do anything he normally doesn't do within the house around you?
No. No. He was acting very normal, sitting on the computer chair, chatting away with me, talking about updating his phone.
Right there. He was sitting in the computer chair talking about resetting his phone, not resetting, updating, because she fixed it real quick. Excuse me. I think that was a Freudian slip. I think they were sitting in the computer chair talking about resetting his phone to try to get rid of the pictures. That's just my thought, opinion, and speculation on that. Elena said that's not what a roommate said. What did her roommate say? I didn't catch that part. What she said that was different than the roommate. What did the roommate say? Hey, Gorgeous George. Gorgeous George says, I think I'm behind, but I think she was still trying to give the impression that Maddie was drugged, not deceased in the front seat. Right, but, and when you hear this, you'll know the cops told her that she was deceased in the front seat. And if you're going with the scenario that she's deceased in the front seat and you're trying to figure out how Stefan did this, then you would again assume that she was deceased in the front seat. But maybe that's a possibility. It still is not, even if she thought that she was drugged in the front seat and not necessarily deceased. No, because she said, even when she runs the story, she says that she thinks that he committed the homicide Sunday night into Monday morning. So that would mean she would know that she was deceased in the front seat and not just drugged. When he asked if he was doing something unusual at home, absolutely, yep, 100%. You're 100%, because the roommate said that he was doing laundry and the tools on the table. Yep. And she says no. He was running up and down the stairs and in and out of the house. And Jen says, nope, nothing weird going on here.
Did he carry tools in his car to change the tire, typically?
Good night, Meemaw.
I think he said there was a tire iron in the car and the jack.
Did he bring it inside? Did he leave it in the car after?
I think he left everything was in the car.
But where did the tools come from that were on the table? Somebody suggested that the tools might have come from the trunk. If they had DNA on them, maybe he was trying to clean them. But we know they were doing something with the tools that day. But I think they're asking about the tools in the trunk because they want to know if that's where that came from what the roommate said.
Did you ever go look at his car?
Right, Rhodey?
To verify that he changed his tire?
I don't think I did.
Never dawned on you to go double check. Except by the time he would have got back from the tire, you were gone, right?
Yeah.
What you told us?
Yeah.
And then she was reported missing.
Yeah.
During that time.
Yeah.
It never dawned on you to be like, damn, did he really change his tire? Let me double check.
No. We got home really late that evening and I didn't even think of doing that.
This is part of our problem. You did so many things and you never questioned it.
I didn't suspect him.
How can we believe some of the stuff that you're telling us or believe that you don't know?
I don't know how to say it. I mean, I guess I'm stupid and gullible and very trustworthy, but I didn't think he'd be the type to do anything like this.
She says it as a question. I guess I'm stupid and gullible and very trustworthy. She says it as a question, not a statement. Like a question like, it's a question of, well, what if I play it out like, let me say that I'm stupid, gullible, and trustworthy as an excuse for why I know all this information, why I'm saying all these things the way I am, and lying to you, basically. She's not saying it as a statement. Because I'm stupid, gullible, and trustworthy. That's why. No, she says it as a question. Because I'm stupid, gullible, and trustworthy. It's a question. It's not a statement. A question, because I'm wondering if I say this, will you believe me and lay off of me a little bit?
I didn't doubt.
But you knew he was vindictive. You described him as not trustworthy with his family. You described instances where you document where he was lying to his family, lying to you, lying to others.
Lying to his family, yes, but lying to me.
You discussed that he wasn't that good of a person. You had to
She didn't believe that he would lie to her because he was so upfront and honest with her about everything he was doing, in my opinion, allegedly speculating. I'm allegedly speculating that she knew about the CSAM because that's why she says he wouldn't lie to me, because even though he lies to his parents and steals money from them and does all these things, he's not going to lie to me. Why would he? He's already told me the worst thing a mother could be told, that he loves my child and that he's having relations with her. So why would he lie to me? Like, there's no other reason to lie to me. He's already told me this information that's like horrific, and I'm helping him cover it up. He trusts me 100% completely. Like, he's not going to lie to me. That's what that says to me. That's how I play that in my mind. You know what I mean? Cray Cray said, exactly. I like you will take that as an excuse. Will that get me off the hook? Yep, exactly. Exactly. Oh, Pamela. Pamela. I said it right. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I really appreciate that. And I thank you for being so supportive of the channel. Thank you so much. That's super sweet of you. Thank you. Tanya said, the scratches on his hands make no sense to me either. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, thank you for dropping in to say, hey, MK Connecticut. That's super sweet of you. Thank you. Right, Leah?
You're not describing him in a positive light at all. So this trust, this caring, all this stuff makes no sense because you, regardless of the victimization, describe him as a good person.
Me too, Jay.
He's stealing from his parents.
And well,
right?
But he never stole from me.
You guys have no money, but all he's doing is ordering things, right? He's buying himself things. He's not. You described him as a selfish thief. You even called it a robbery, that he robbed his parents.
He never stole from me. He did steal from you, though. He stole your child from you, her innocence. Thank you, Jay, for being here.
So you're trusting this dude who you're describing as untrustworthy.
But I thought he was.
What happened to her? Where did you ask that? I can't fathom that. I can't wrap my head around that.
I think I only asked him if he took her to school. When I called him and told him to come to the office, I asked him if you dropped her off at school, right? Because she never made it. And he said, yeah. I was like, she never made it. Where did you drop her off?
But that's not what she said. She reiterated to the teacher, the principal, the friend, the stoplight, the stop sign, the car, the tire, the lug nut. She told everybody, we dropped her off. He dropped her off. I dropped her off at the preschool, the church preschool. She's not calling and asking him, where did you drop her off? Why is she not, how did she not make it to school? Where did you drop her off at? I would love to know if there was even a phone call placed to his phone, because I bet there wasn't.
You guys sat in your car Tuesday night when I was out there. I was out there at least 4 hours. Just you two in that car.
Yeah.
Right here.
You can't tell me you guys did not have any conversations about this. There's no way.
Exactly.
A reasonable person would have been questioning him. You were the last person with her. What the hell happened this morning? You never did that in that car.
No. Are you freaking serious? Like, yes, the hell they did. Yes, the hell they did. She's lying her ass off. There's no way that you sat in that car with that man for 4 hours and never discussed anything at all. Never talked about anything. You did. You did. I think you reiterated your story. You went over the parts that weren't making sense, that you were catching hell about and getting more questions about. You went over it again to fix those parts, to make sure you both had the story straight. You probably rehearsed it back and forth to each other a couple of times, and you talked about how you were going to protect each other. That's what happened in the 4 hours in the car. I'd almost bet my life on it. Leah says Stephen stole from his parents and stole from Maddie. Jim pretending that he gave the money back to Maddie. Yep. Absolutely, Jen Soto already knew the story, right? Cray Cray says, and how would she know she never made it to school if she wasn't there? She could have gone to school and passed out in the bathroom and no one found her. Yeah, you're right. Just as an example, right? If they say you're right. Because I would go with, well, the school teachers and counselors and principal said they hadn't seen her that day and the best friend hadn't seen her. So I would say that she didn't make it to school, but you're right. She could have been passed out in the bathroom. She could have made it to school and maybe walked out the door before anybody saw her. That's what I used to do when I skipped school because I was a bad kid. But any of these things are possible. 4 hours. 4 hours, Maggie May, yes.
I remember being on my phone. He was on my phone for a little bit. I know I was medicated, and I was just zoning out.
That's always their
I wasn't thinking anything of anything.
They're always zoned out on medication, both of them. That's their excuse for everything. Oh, Boston,
gosh.
Chica, thank you for being here.
Just asking him that one time to me was, if he took her to school, that was enough answer for me. I don't know. I just wanted to think. Not think the worst, I guess. I don't know. But I just didn't think he did anything.
Bull.
Now I know.
Hold on.
But then I didn't.
Hold on.
Get a bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Come on. Hell, no. To the no. To the no.
That's what I think about that.
I was still believing everything he was telling me.
Juvenile robbery suspects utilize the excuse of, I was high on bars, I took Xanax, I was blacked out, right? Every juvenile robbery suspect you interview, I was, in your words, medicated, in their words, high, incapacitated, drunk. It's an excuse to avoid admitting what happened.
It's an excuse to avoid responsibility and admitting what happened. Absolutely. And I'm not wrong for agreeing with the detective. Great minds think alike. Ro DeLee said, and that school texting not here in the afternoon, what's the point? I would be livid. Our school texts around 10 or 10:30. Some schools here do that. Like, I remember when my kids were in school before I started homeschooling, that they would text me if they were out of school sick. I would get a call that afternoon after the bus had done run to drop them off. And they would say your child was not in school today. And I remember back then thinking, what if they were like missing or something? I wouldn't know until after the bus had done come and went to drop them off at home that they were actually missing. Like, I would have known when they didn't get off the bus before I would have known from the school calling. Like, they need to change that stuff. And Boston Chica, thank you for dropping in, love.
You say you're medicated. I can't think of an amount of medication that will numb you so bad to numb the fact that the investigation is occurring right in front of your face for your missing. So being medicated is just an excuse to avoid answering why you didn't discuss with him what happened. It minimizes your guys' interaction by saying you were not fully coherent. But there's a person I know who can sit in a car car and watch a bunch of detectives and crime scene investigators and everybody else search her house, seize her house, and be so numb that that somehow is not ringing bells, is not overcoming the power of this little medication. There's no way. The human body will overcome that in a big situation. You didn't take enough medication to numb you of the reality of what was occurring.
I mean,
there's no way. Unless you're fully incapacitated, there's no way you were so numb that everything he described to you, everything I described to you was not in the forefront of your mind. You weren't numb. Just like these robbery kids weren't blacked out. They weren't high enough.
Exactly. Boston said they had to get their story together and stuck with keywords or moments to remind themselves: hibiscus backpack, church, McDonald's, etc. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly, Boston Chica. Like Cray said, exactly. Weird same words to tell the same story. Right. Yup.
Enough to not remember the robbery. They just don't want to talk about it.
No, it wasn't clicking. It didn't click to me. Like you guys telling me like it wasn't as obvious, like this and that. I still believed the story he had told me, that when we were sitting in the car, I still fully believed everything he had told me. I didn't doubt him. I really thought you guys were going after the wrong guy. I'm like, they're wasting time. The real suspect is out there. She's being sex trafficked. That was my biggest fear, is that she was being sex trafficked. I didn't think that she would actually be dead.
Because that's better.
But she thought enough to get him a lawyer.
Right. Oh.
I really thought you guys were going after the wrong guy.
Even after they showed you a picture of your child with a member in her mouth, ma'am. Stop it.
At that point, from the jump, we've been trying to find her.
And you have not.
That has been and will be our biggest priority.
Him getting arrested for victimizing her was an accident. No one discovered that she was a victim because we took his phone.
And I'm like so happy that happened, because if not, this would have continued to keep happening.
Well, it wouldn't have, because he killed her on Monday.
Yep.
I wonder if she had been found. I wonder why.
Right, Jay?
There's no, I've asked this before, but there's no like map you guys can show me of like with a highlighted route of where he could have taken, to see if I could recognize anything or suspect anything.
I can pull up a map on my phone, the areas you described, and we can go through it.
Sure.
Said House of Cards.
All right. So this is where she goes through the map, and she gets all excited about trying to help them solve the case that she already knows the answer to, in my humble opinion. We've been on for almost 3 hours, or 4 hours. Actually, it's 3 hours and 49 minutes. So I'm going to say good night to you all, and I hope you have a really great New Year's Eve. Jay said, trying to paint herself as an attentive mom has backfired in so many ways. It absolutely has. Boston Chica said, I want a southpaw swing those glasses off her ugly, fat, drug-bloated face. Sorry, not sorry. I'm with you. I'm with you. I do. Maddie was being sex trafficked at your home, Jen. Yep, said Leah. Cray said, I'm so happy you found the CSAM, because now he knows what he was doing to her. Yeah, I'm glad they found the CSAM stuff too, because yeah, now they know, but Jen's not happy about it. She thought that she was going to get rid of it. Toxic said, he just said this woman is telling on herself with every word she says, and when she backtracks to make herself sound understood, or to make herself understood. Yep. So if Maddie had been found alive, Jen would side with Steppen. Yeah, probably. Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Linda, for being here. Abellis, Happy New Year, my love. Happy New Year. I hope y'all have a good New Year. I will be back tomorrow. Me and Hio are going to dual stream some interesting cases. I don't know what yet. We're going to kind of blind react to some crimes. So that'll be fun. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year and a happy New Year's Eve. Tanya said she knew. Absolutely. Absolutely, she did. I really appreciate this. I had a really good time today. Like, I appreciate Darla and some other people coming in trying to say that they can understand how Jen didn't know, because that made us go down this road, and it really made this stream interesting. It was exciting for me, and I know that it was interesting for y'all too. I enjoy the time we spend together every day. It makes me happy. It's like my therapy to look at some other things going on and talk about it and express our feelings. It really makes me feel better. It puts me in a great mood. So thank you for that. I'm not in a great mood for Maddie, but I enjoy talking to you guys about it and expressing our opinions and thoughts and speculations. I really love doing that. Happy New Year's, best family. Yes, Happy New Year to the best family ever. Sweet Melissa, thank you for being here. Happy New Year. It was a great time. It was. Not a great topic, but a great time and a great discussion. And I love that. We have great discussions like daily. Please make sure, I dropped Grish's links in the description box. Please make sure to check them out. Guilty of Crime, check her out. She's in my description box from yesterday. Also from yesterday is our Discord link and As the Gavel Drops Discord link. So check them out as well. As the Gavel Drops has all the documents. And Hio, I will drop Hio's link on a community post so that you guys can check her channel out. And I will see y'all tomorrow on New Year's Day. Have the best New Year's ever. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye. Thank you for being here with me and spending this time.
Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should